amazing. It's clash heads again. This is like Chaz Mostert and Cam Waters.
It's motorsport, but not as you know it. Test yourself and your everyday road car. Safe, affordable, but most of all, fun. And all you need is your daily driver. Experience the thrill of a sprint day. Race against the clock at a hill climb. Or test your reflexes with an auto test. It takes just 3 simple steps to get started. Get on the start line. Search Motorsport Australia Daily Driver today.
Fishies in a row. They're here to make a point and to do Eddie proud. They fan out in the background as they come down to turn 1 for the first time. It all looks pretty good, 2 by 2. We'll stop the camera here. Oh, Eddie would be proud, mate. That was awesome run around turn 1. But, oi! Contact with the fishies!
He's made it through. It doesn't look like Angus has made it, but Thomas Freeman's made it through, and Angus is going to suffer the crowd coming through there to be able to turn his car around.
I love riding. It's a real social thing. There's a great bond between riders.
Every weekend I look forward to getting out there. It's a freedom like no other.
Riding to work is a great way to start the day.
Shannon's insure all types of road bikes, not just classics. They offer features riders really want. It's why they're one of Australia's leading motorcycle insurance providers.
Whatever you ride, whatever you ride,
Whatever you ride.
ride with Shannon's.
Call 134646 for a quote.
And they are off. It was a good start from Dylan De Bono. I think Phil Vella got a great start there in the background as well. You can see already cars going 5, 6 wide as they're trying to find any semblance of space. They come into T1. So far we've got 2, 3 wide as they snake down. It's Michael Culture that's got around Dylan De Bono. A couple of cars going wide there. Was that a bit of contact in the back? Scott Pocock caught up in that, I think, there, buddy. But it's Michael Cullajar's got past, so Dylan...
light is coming out and we're about to get going, and we have a green light and a very slow start for the 86s, but they are moving out there on the grid. It would be very interesting to see exactly which driver can capitalise on this first lap. Just go through the grid. Looks like Jamie Christensen had a really awesome start to get ahead of Dylan De Bono, and Doug Gowage also jumped his teammate as well, so unfortunately Dylan stalled the car a little bit more than what he preferred. But
Weekend in, weekend out, Motorsport Australia officials are making waves. From waving flags, waving cars through pit lane, or responding to a wave for help. Wave hello to new lifelong friends. Who knows, you might just make waves around the world. Ride the first wave. Search Motorsport Australia officials today.
Still great classes of car, and if you are able to, if you're coming up the ranks on iRacing through the licenses, it's a fantastic sort of laneway into prototype driving, going from that GT3 up through the prototype classes. As the safety car pulls in, and we get ready to go green as we come up towards the line. Edwards, Hasler, who's going to get the jump down to turn 1, or will any of the fishies, any of the piranhas in behind them, assault them down towards
green and they're off.
First lap. Let's go here.
We've always had a few cars. They're all special. The T-Bird.
Oh, that's mine.
The Combi for when we want to get away. The XR8.
It's going to be a classic.
They're all insured with Shannon's.
We've also got Shannon's home and contents cover,
which helps protect our automotive collectibles, tools and memorabilia in the home and garage. If you're motoring enthusiasts like us, it's got to be
Shannon's.
Shannon's, insurance for motoring enthusiasts. Call 134646 for a quote.
This is amazing. It's clash heads again. This is like Chaz Mostert and Cam Waters. Almost the same situation. Better contact going down the hill. Sam Noble wants to sniff on Dave Coleman now. Sam Noble bottle right now because tell you what, Bruce Tanek and Jamie Dyson just absolutely drove away from us. Hayden trying to go around the outside. This is where he could have just sent it up the inside, but he hasn't committed, which is fair enough. It's very scary out there, ladies and gentlemen. You know, let's see if we get a good run. Dodd's just absolute thinker, but it's a really nice move. Blake Delaney had to move out of the way.
Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever it is you are watching from tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Sim Racing World TV. We're here for some massive Tim Top action out of Sebring here for round number 6 of the Shannon's Toyota GR86 Nationals. I'm your commentator here tonight, Hamish Munro, joined alongside me in the booth. It's, well, a bit of a reunion for us here tonight is Andrew Cowan. Cowan, we've been away from each other for the majority of this season in the comms box. It's great to be back with you. Tin Top action, of course, round Sebring. We could be on here for an interesting night of racing, of course. We know that rain is available for these cars, but there's going to be no rain out there tonight. But be interesting to see how they can tackle this this former Air Force base of a circuit.
Look, it's a great circuit here, buddy. Yeah, good to be back with you, mate. Yeah, I've missed the last couple of F3 rounds, and I've ended up doing Monday nights, the Formula Vs, and been roped in here a few times now for the 86s, so I'm starting to get familiar watching these cars go around. The big thing about Sebring here, buddy, is there's like those changes in the texture of the road. You go from concrete to asphalt to even sort of, I think there's a third type around here where it's a mix of both, and contact there in front of us. But yeah, it makes it for a tricky track to drive. The car will slide and bump. Where that happens, you know, you can get caught out, and we just see it time and time again, buddy.
I think the last time we were together in the booth calling a race around here, I believe it was the TCRs when they were around here, when they were last in SRW, back when we used to have our bit of double bubble action on a Wednesday night. And we saw those guys get into a bit of carnage, we'll say, but they were also running the club variant of this circuit as well. Full layout here tonight for these cars. The lap times are doing around about mid 2-minute 20s. We could be on, you know, it's going to be a long race, I think, for them. Obviously, Sebring's a lot bigger of a track than what people expect it to be. But I think it's really going to offer up a nice challenge for these cars. Obviously, we know the 86s, they can bang doors, they can get in tight, you know, they can have some really, really good, you know, close and hard racing. And you know, and I think it's just going to offer us up a really good chance to see some battles happening at a bit of a slower pace than what we might be used to with the supercars or the Formula 3s, or even out in IMSA for Friday nights as well.
Still quite a technical track, you know, so, you know, if you can get it right, you position your car, you'd be quite faster in here. But get caught offline or get bumped offline, you know, because someone else making a move up the inside, it can really affect your speed around here. We're going to see that big long straight, the toe, come into effect. And with these cars, I wouldn't be surprised to see someone get in the toe and then get caught up again, you know, down this back straight.
Yeah, I think it's going to be all about, you know, I've spoken to Stephen about it at length in our Supercars broadcast, even on Tuesdays and Sundays. It's going to be all about maximising those runs out of corners, I think, here tonight at this track, especially in these cars. If you can maximise those runs, even if you have to give up a little bit of track position to do it, it's really going to benefit you in being able to reclaim that position, you know, namely, get your exit of the final corner maximized, because even if you're going to lose the position down the back straight, you can always go for it again down at turn 1. So it's going to be up to the drivers though to really tackle it as best they can. And you know, I think as I mentioned, I think we're going to be on for a good night. We've already had an absolutely stellar start to the round. It's kind of been mentioned at length in the first 2 races of round 6 for SRWtv. Of course, the supercars, absolute banger of a race with all those battles out on track. The Formula 3s was absolutely carnage filled, and so much fun to see everything unfold out at Bathurst. Then here tonight, 86s around here. We've got over 30 cars out on track. So even though it is a bigger track, Cowie, I think we're still going to get those nice little tight battles that we love, being the fact that there are so many cars out on track.
It's a big field. That's great to see. I think we had 20-something in the V8s last night, on Tuesday night as well. the F3s have always been putting on big fields, so it's great to see so many cars out there. Look, the first couple of laps, it's going to be rather interesting of the race. Well, that's practice, buddy. We go into quali. Suffice to say, was it Dylan DeBono leading the pro standings at the moment, and he's been one of the fast cats out there in qualifying week after week.
Well, of course, also he'll be off the high of taking the win last night out of the F3, so he'll take that momentum into this race. He's leading by quite a fair gap, 128 points back to John McHenry out of P2 for Locked On Lads Racing. Daniel Byrne, we know what he can do in an F3. He's then a further 55 points back off the back of McHenry compared to DeBono. So, you know, it's going to be up to the drivers, though, to try and maximise their qualifying, try and get a good start. Of course, sprint format here tonight, Cowie. So, you know, they're going to be on for a couple of 20-minute races, or a 20-minute race and at least a 40-minute race. You know, we could be on for, young and old out there. And we know what Sebring can provide to us when it comes to challenges for drivers. And this may even be a bit of a precursor or a preview to what we could expect in the final round of the supercars when they do enduro action around here at the end of the season.
Oh, don't remind me of that, buddy. I don't know if this is one of my favourite race tracks. Those changes in tarmac, like even that big braking zone there, can easily catch you out if you go in too hot. Now, these cars here, it's all about momentum, so they don't quite have the power of a big supercar. But if you can keep your momentum up, you see there, Turner already trying to do that early on cold tyres. But that is the key to these things. Carry a bit more sort of mid-corner speed if you can, keep that momentum, and hopefully trust that the grip's there.
So if I'm assuming this correctly, it appears that we're having solo qualifying out there. You think that benefits the drivers more than being able to have every single car out on track together?
Well, it is an interesting way to deal with 30-something cars out on the track, so I don't know if that's a ingenious design by race control or a mistake. But, look, I suppose it makes it easier, it makes it simpler, where you just got to focus on the track. You don't have to worry about getting out of other people's way when they're on a hot lap and you're on a slow lap. And it also takes the draft out of the equation when it comes down to quality as well.
Well, it also then minimises the amount of opportunities you get at setting that lap time, of course. This is a long lap. You know, we mentioned it's 2.5 minutes long, or just under. For 10 minutes to set 2 laps, you're realistically only going to get 2 laps out of the car on your flyers. DeBono's going to come around. He's going to start his first of his flyers now. We'll head on board with him. We'll keep an eye on him throughout this lap, which obviously championship lead up for the pro class. And, you know, this will give us a good little semblance of how this track sort of feels in these cars. Obviously, we can see the amount of cloud coverage on track. We did mention there will be known rain tonight. Rain will start for SRW on Saturday night. That's a big slide from Dylan, though, through turn 1. And just wrestling. You know, these cars, they are an absolute wrestle to get them planted and to get them round corners as quickly as possible.
You see here trying to really late apex and climb over the curve there. He's trying to do the same thing here, really late apex this so he can carry speed. He's close to sending the rear of the car around, but that's what you need to do to be fast in these things.
So only time will tell, though, who is going to get the jump here in qualifying, get the maximised start they can in race number 1. You know, obviously we mentioned it at length already, Cowie, about Saturday night. It's our rain spectacular coming everyone's way. We have got some promotional material to show you with all the details on it after this qualifying session. Of course, you know, we've got 3 different opportunities for drivers to get out on track within 3 hours. Obviously, we start with the 86s. They'll get to do 2 races in the wet around Oran Park. Going to be a heck of a challenge for them. Then we've got the Super Formula Lights, which will be taken over for the F3s come Season 2 of SRWtv. They'll get to go around Phillip Island with some wet conditions. And then we have the IMSA entries out at Le Mans with changeable conditions to be applied. So from dry to wet or from wet to dry, however that happens, all will be the story will be told come Saturday night, but it will give not only us a chance to test that stuff out, but also give an opportunity for the viewers to see what it's like for the drivers just to try and swim their way around some circuits here on iRacing.
Have you had a go of the rain yet, buddy? I did have a go today, driving the Ferrari around Spa, and it felt bad, which is really good.
Yeah, I've
That's the way to describe it. So you hit a puddle and it slides. You get up on the ripple strip and there's no grip. The white line down the back of Spa there, that caught us out a couple of times too. Yeah, so far so good. It looks and feels good.
Yeah, I've not yet had an opportunity to drive in the wet just yet. You picked the right day to do it, though, Cowie, after they applied the hot fix. So now they've actually got it all perfected. As we get our first lap times coming in here in qualifying, Tim Corn has gone P1 at this stage. I was going to have a run tonight, but then covering for JP, which is okay. I'll probably have a run tomorrow in something prior to IMSA. I would suppose I would say is what I would do. May even try out Daytona in the wet tomorrow, see how hectic it is around the bowl section in the wet for one of the GT cars maybe. But I'm really looking forward to this. Obviously, it's a new change that's coming.
I know the river at the bottom of Eau Rouge was rather interesting, but you just fly through there, but you can't get up on the inside curve. You do that, the car just flies off to the left.
Well,
it's really interesting how you're going to try and take that corner.
Well, I was having a conversation last night with a couple of my mates about which tracks would actually be good in the wet. And one that came up was actually Mugello, since all the corners pretty much are off camber. So it means that you'd actually probably be able to run the major line around the majority of the circuit because all the water would run off onto the outside of the track. Oh, it's a big moment there from Daniel Byrne. That'll be qualifying over for him. He is currently provisional P1 with a lap time of 2:24.57.
Might get another go. Might get another go. He can stay on these tyres.
Well, it depends how many laps they're allowed here in qualifying, obviously. If they're allowed to set as many as possible before the 10 minutes is up, then yes, he could very well do that. Whereas if they only get 2 laps, then that's it. It's done. But we'll wait and see if he continues on for another lap. But yeah, obviously tyres can cook very easily around here because of the different compositions that are on the track layout. Obviously, we mentioned it. We have the combination of tarmac and concrete, then just the straight up concrete, and then also the straight up tarmac. So it offers a lot of changeable conditions of how the tires can, depreciate. I think it's depreciate along a lap, and how they can decay. And it really, again, it offers up a heap of different challenges. It almost feels like you're running 3 different tracks in one lap. Like, it really just offers it up for the drivers to try and maximize some tyre strategy, but also some driving strategy as well.
Yeah, so although these cars do have that wet enabled now, we're not going to drop it on the boys for the middle of the season. We'll have a look at some of the drivers out there. Look at Daniel Fritz. He was P2, now P3 as Ratcliffe goes to the top of the 24:20.
Well, Fritz is in the lane at the moment.
Yeah, but he was near the front there. P4 looks like DeBono's done a 24:6 as well, 6:1, to get in front of him. But yeah, but Fritzy, our leading Pro-Am driver, he's got an 86-point lead over Mark Cochran at the moment, but still punching above his weight and up in, amongst the pros. So at this stage, Fritzy looks like he might be going up a division. Especially if he can wrap up this championship with this and 3 more rounds to go.
Well, now that you told me that, I know that I have to change his class in the thing, so I will change that. So thank you for bringing that up.
He's still in as a Pro-Am.
He said as an Am for me, so I'll have to change it to a Pro-Am. So once I do that, it'll be fine. There we go. That's fixed it.
So our leading Am driver at the moment. Now this is where it's a bit tighter. So in the Pro and the Pro-Am field, there's quite a good gap between first and second. But in the AMs, Greg Johnson has a 1-point lead over Brendan Soper, who has a 5-point lead over Kevin Wakefield. And then Dean Sinkovich is only a further 13 points back. So it's pretty close there for the top 4 or 5 in the AMs, even though the pros are the ones that are extending their lead out front.
I know that Dean, he's been having a bit of an up and down season in the F3s. It's good to see, though, that he has found some consistency in the old tin top 8.6. Be sure to let us know, guys, if you have had a chance to drive in the rain, obviously, and if you've had a chance, specifically to how to drive in the rain in the 8.6s. What did you think of them? What are your thoughts on this new update and how the 8.6s kind of compare to how they used to run or how they run in the dry? And has it changed anything of how you're going to actually tackle going for an attempt at a lap or an attempt at a race in future? A couple of chats already we've got out there. Mr. Iceman saying, let's go Team Apex Esports League. And then Matty Gerard in there saying, hey, everyone, let's go Velocity Sim Lab as well. We'll see how they go. Qualifying is up, done and dusted now, Cowie. So we're going to be able to get into our first heat race of the night. We will bring up our starting grid for that one, of course, and run everyone through the current running order. So we've got Shane. Oh, why is it bringing it up like that for? Let's bring it up by class. We want overall. There we go. So starting off in P number 1, we've got Shane Ratcliffe starting ahead of Daniel Byrne out of P2. It's then championship leader Dylan DeBono out of P3 in behind them. Alongside him will be Dougie Gowan. So 3 Velocity SimLab drivers in the top 4 from qualifying. That's a great effort from them. It then goes down to Daniel Fritz making up the top 5 and Callan Hodgkinson in behind them. We've then got Dan Bartish and Sam Katakazinos in P7 and P8 with David Gallo and Ryan Price making up the top 10 of qualifying. Cam Hardwick will then start at a P11 ahead of Tim Cornt out of P12 with Mark Cochran starting at a P13 ahead of Matt Feely out of P14. It's then Greggy Johnston out of P15 ahead of Ty Delaney in P16, the young guppy. He's been having some real character building races this season, so hopefully this one can be a better one for him after a phenomenal drive on Sunday night for the supercars. Mitchie Noble then started at P17 ahead of John McHenry out of P18 with Mick Clifton and Wayne Edwards making up the top 20 in behind. It's then Marty Walker and Brendan Sopar in behind them with Shane Newens and Dean Sinkovich making up our top 24 drivers on the grid. We then move down to Phil Buckland and Kevin Wakefield with David Simmons and Stephanie Piccoli in behind with Vic Bensveltzen out of P29 and our race controller Thomas Freeman there in P30 because Mark Turner and Steven Sigovich unable to set a lap time. Greg Leakey in our safety car. I don't know if you saw what happened to Leakey in the safety car yesterday, Cowie, but he managed to somehow get them to allow him to smoke in the car.
Okay.
Because he managed to blow the engine up the hill at Bathurst in the safety car. Wow. So he pulled a 007 on the field. He did a bit of a smoke screen jobby and ran away with it. So luckily, though, it was the third and final safety car of the race that he did that. So, but if you guys haven't seen the action from the first 2 races, be sure to go check them out after tonight's race. The Supercars race is absolutely phenomenal. Obviously, you raced in it, Cowie. You know, you'll be able to give them a bit of a first-hand experience from where you finished, and then even F3's just pure carnage, pure hilarity, but so much fun to call. And yeah, it was one of those races that you kind of watch and you just sit back and you just enjoy yourself.
I missed the last couple of F3 rounds and haven't had a chance to sort of watch them back yet either. So, yeah, been missing call on those races. They always do give such great excitement, but it is the GR86s here for Shannon's. This is going to be an awesome race, mate. 30-something cars out there. And although this track is wide in places, it tightens up. And I think that's where we're going to see the action tonight.
It tightens up on those turn-ins of corners, doesn't it? Like your apexes and your main line to get through corners is actually a lot tighter than what some people expect. Like some of the corners, they appear to be you could go too wide, but realistically, you can only make it round there on one line. So it could really offer us up some carnage and some good moments to call here tonight. Lights are up, though. We're going to get ready to go racing here at Sebring for the first time tonight. Who's going to get the jump? It's Ratcliffe off the start with Burnt in behind. DeBono got a good one too as they just start to file their way down towards turn number 1. Come down here for the first time. See how they run themselves round turn 1. Byrne wants it around the outside. He's gotten it done and he is into the lead of this race already. As we make our way down to turn 2 for the first time. And look at how many cars there are in the background, Cowie. It's absolutely awesome to see this many little tin top races out here at Sebring.
All doing really well. I was expecting to see at least 1 or 2 of them run wide there at T1 where it tightens up. But so far the field's doing great, all coming through and into single file as the guys up front sort themselves out early.
There has been an incident down the back. We will get the replay happening at the end of lap number 1. Of course, 20-minute race here in the first affair, so we'll get a good look at how the drivers and how the cars are gelling with the Sebring circuit and if there's anything they could improve upon for race number 2.
that Hodgkinson and Dan Batush there too wide. That was exciting stuff coming over the bumps there. Got the Whiskey Runner, Daniel Fritz in front of him, the leading Pro-Am driver at the moment, sitting in P5. But yeah, look at that action back there behind Hodgkinson, Gallo, Batush, Catagazinos in the middle of the action there as well. Hardwick on the back of it. Who's that got caught on the outside? I think that might have been Hardwick, was it?
It did appear to be Hardwick, yes.
Yeah.
So he's just in behind this little battle with these guys. Now you saw Catagazinos, he wanted to jump it up there. He's managed to get past Bartosh. Ahead of him now. He's got Cochrane just dropping down a position in the background. But we'll head back up the front, see how Byrne, Ratcliffe and De Bono are doing as they make their way round. And again, it's just given us a good opportunity just to see how these drivers are tackling this track here tonight as we make our way round. It is early on.
Early on, they seem fairly wary of the curve of death there, staying away from it early on. We'll see how that desperation pans out as the race continues.
Perfect word to describe that one, Cowie. I think it's going to come down to how much more desperate are they going to get to try and make a position, and then will they roll the dice any more than what they need to here tonight. Round the final corner for the first time we come to start lap number 2, 2.5 minutes into proceedings. So we may only get 10 or so laps in this race here tonight. We'll head out and check on some of those replays off the back of lap number 1. It all started early on with Shane Newens. He had a bit of an incident early. I believe this was down possibly at turn number 1. Are you going to do it for me? Yes, it will. Very good as we come on through. So up towards T1. We can just see him here. Look at all the cars there. And he just got hooked up there into the wall.
Might have got a hit in the rear there for the car to go around there. So I might have got called into race control, I suspect.
And then Brendan Sopar had a bit of an off track as well. Oh, and that's why. Big contact on the inside of the car. Hold your brakes, son. Everyone else did well to avoid it. And then just pulling himself back into the grass patch there on the inside of the corner. And then young Tider Lady with a couple other cars getting their off tracks. So they're already pushing the limits early for those track limits and getting some curb strikes. John McHenry also ended off the lap with a bit of an off track as well. Or with a bit of an incident. Locked on Ladd's car. Got his teammate on the inside. Oh, and he ran it massively wide. And that's big contact. You can see the front end is completely smushed.
Yeah. The car is broken. David Simmons given a black flag for that contact we saw before as well.
And this was the front two. They ran it wide too off the start of lap 2. And then Matt Feely's just had an incident too. So we'll check this one out. What's he done?
Oh, just got a little bit of assistance there. The car was already probably starting to go. Hard to see if that will be anything more than a racing incident, but it'll be up to race control to adjudicate all of these. They're racing so close together, the contact there between, is that Gowans and De Bono? So something happened to De Bono?
He had run it wide at turn 1, so I think that's why he's kind of just dropped some spots early on.
Gowans is right in the hunt now. So, right in the middle of it. So, Gowans taking advantage of a little mistake from De Bono. I mean, it is the teammates all racing hard against each other here.
He's offering up a nice little battle for us now on board with Gowans as we come through towards turn number 1. Oh, he wants it down the inside, though. See if he can pull it off on his teammate. Doesn't look to be quite close enough that time by. As we continue on through once again. And I think, you know, the drivers, I mean, yes, there's been a couple little incidents already, Cowie, but they're just starting to settle into their rhythm and into their groove at the moment, which is good to see.
Well, it is a track that you can get into the groove with it. You know, you sort of, I suppose, as the race goes on, you build up that confidence in taking sort of certain sections that, you know, with more pace, get a better run through them, a better line. But, you know, then you've got 4 other guys that are around you or behind you that are all trying to do the same thing, and in the process, open the door and maybe wiggle their way through to make some of those corners too wide. that's what this racing's all about.
So John McHenry's had another incident at the last corner. Oh, and he's pushing so... Hey, you know what? Fair play to him. That was a sick drift. But unfortunately, he didn't pull it off at the end. So it's unfortunate of him. And then Steve Singovich has also had a moment too in the Team SRW machine. So he's come down into the hairpin. And has he just looped it? Oh, he has. He caught the curb. And these cars do not like curbs. They do not like
the
them
curb
at
of
all.
death, maybe on the inside of the curb of death there. Kevin Wakefield also been given a black flag from race control for contact. Grandpa running around with his headlights on while it's working. He's now up into P2. So what's happened to Radcliffe? We've missed what's happened to Radcliffe. Has he made a little mistake?
I think he's just...
now he's struck the P4.
I think maybe he's just kind of let his teammates go past. See if we can get the replay up of it. So this was how De Bono got past him. Gowans had already done it at this point, so they were still battling it out for the position. And then, yeah, he just snuck it up the inside down at turn 4. And that's how you got that done. So just some respectful racing at the end of the day between the teammates.
I think you're right. Maybe not fighting a teammate and maybe realising that he's slowing him up a little. Maybe see if he can sit in behind and keep with them now.
Mark Cochran's dropping some spots, and that's why he's spun it at the final corner.
I think... Was Mark coming in? No, it wasn't coming in before the pitch, you're right. Got a couple of cars coming in to serve their drive-throughs now. But that's quite costly for Cochran now back in P20, though he's saying something about contact. He's on the radio.
Oh, that'll be what it is. I don't know about that one. That's questionable.
It's interesting. I don't know if the other car could have done much about it. He'd already made a mistake and was recovering it from it. Problem in that case, like his car is all unloaded, you know, so when the car's unloaded, you tap it and it just gets sent, unfortunately. So yeah, another one where I'm happy that I'm not in the race control booth.
Yeah, I think, you know, it's such a tough decision to try and differentiate those things from happening. Unfortunately, Jake, we can't show, I believe you're talking about Callan Hodgson, we can't show the roof of his car because in fact he's actually in the pits. So unfortunately we can't show his car on screen at the moment. And then Ben Faulkner asking where the turtle car. I'm not sure which turtle car he might be meaning, maybe the safety car, I'm not 100% sure on that one. But it's Byrne to Gowans to De Bono to Ratcliffe, then to Fritzy, that's the top 5. Then Bartish, Catagazinos, Hardwick, Corn, and Price makes up the 10. Noble, Delaney, and Johnston, though, they're still within the hunt for that position. Delaney and Noble just a little bit closer than what Johnston is at the moment to Pricey in P10.
Fritzy and Bartush, that's the Pro-Am battle, 5th and 6th at the moment. So those boys right in the middle of the thick of it. So that Greg Johnson, our leading AM driver at the moment, he's got a 1-point lead in the championship, so he'd be happy he's got a few positions over Dean Sinkovich and Kevin Wakefield, who are back in 17th and 18th at the moment. So,
well, we could actually see Dean just kind of in the background there of screen. Greg's at the front of this little pack. That's where Dean is right there, so he's not too far back off him on the road. And he's in a prime position now to take advantage if something happens to Greg or if Greg makes a bit of a mistake. So could still be on for Young and Hold here. Halfway through the race now, 10 minutes in, 10 minutes to go as these drivers start lap number 5. No signs of a safety car just yet, which we kind of assumed would be the scenario, being that it is just such a wide track and it's really going to take someone being stuck in a wall or on their roof or hitting the curb of death to really cause that to happen. So, but what it means is we're likely going to get 20 minutes of hard and great racing between these little tin top machines, Cowie.
Unfortunately, we lost Steven Sinkovich by the look of it with connection issues, so his internet maybe not strong enough tonight. That is unfortunate. But yeah, at the moment, yeah, Greg Johnson sitting in P13 at the moment. And in the prime position, but we've got a safety car out on the track, haven't we?
We do. So I spoke way too soon. We do have one. So I believe, I'm not sure who's caused that. If it might have been, no, it's not McHenry. It's not Walker. Cochran's just come out of the pits. Not 100% sure what's actually caused that. We have now got Hodgkinson back out there too. Boxer Stuffs Gaming saying go Doug. Well, Dougie's doing pretty well at the moment. He's P2 at the stage on the road. So yeah, not yeah, it is. It's a commentary jinx. You're exactly right, Matty. Exactly right, mate. It's a commentary jinx. We caused it. I think Sinker might be back in the session, possibly. He did have an off track. I know he was struggling with his wheel. So whether it was that's caused it or what, I'm not 100% sure.
He's got the download packet loss. So generally when the internet's not strong enough, something's going wrong. Race control just advising that the safety car will be in this lap, so it will only be one lap under the safety car. We'll probably take a lap out of this race, but we're just now on 8 minutes to go, so by the time they get round, we're having a look at now to see what might happen. This is Hodgkinson.
It was. Oh, that's why.
Oh.
We said it. It would take a car to flip for that to happen. And that's why we got the safety car. So he kind of rolled underneath the radar there for us.
That's a cause of the way that the grass and dirt and that behaved now for iRacing. It just sort of gripped the car a little bit more, and it was just enough to throw it over.
Yeah, that'll be what Jake Edwards was referencing to with Cal the Dragon on the roof. He literally meant that Callan was on his roof. So the spin top does come out to play here tonight. So a little bit of a reset for us though, Cowie. Halfway through the race, just bunches the field back up again. I doubt we're going to see any battling between these Velocity boys up the front. Of course, they control 3 of the top 4 positions, but they might start bringing the fight to Daniel Byrne, P1 on the road at the moment.
I think these boys have shown that they're certainly willing to battle each other because they race against each other so often. But I think you're right too. At least initially, if they can help one of them maybe open the door on the driver 808, Daniel Byrne in front, then if Doug opens the door here, do not be surprised if Dylan and Shane Ratty Ratcliffe decide to try and go through all that open door at the same time.
The safety car is in. We will get back underway. Daniel Byrne will have control of the field. We know how good he is off these restarts, Cowie. We've seen it many a time prior to now in the F3s, and he's just going to offer us up a nice, tasty little final sort of 6-minute battle here with 3 Velocity SimLabs drivers on his tail. De Bono even pushing Dougie there just to put the pressure on Byrne. He might hold them here all the way to the line.
Looks like I think he's just gone now, has he?
Yeah, he has. He has. So that's the only real way we know, really, when we're so far away from the cars when they've gone, because obviously they are a bit of a slow getaway just based on the fact of they're kind of a low acceleration car. Which is, it actually works for their benefit because it means we can get some nice close racing without the risk of people having some ridiculous incidents. As I say that after we had a car roll in this race as well. But, it's not as easy to really tell in these cars as what we would with the supercar or an F3 or something like that off a restart. But how we do know is when people start to move out of the line and start to put some pressure on the cars ahead of them as well.
At the moment, he did it exactly how he intended, Daniel Byrne, and it's given him about a half a second lead at the moment over Doug, the Grandpa Gowans, who's got his teammate Dylan De Bono breathing down his neck at the moment. Well, not really his neck because it's the other end of the car, but you get what we mean. Look at De Bono looking for space on the inside, but Gowans, there's a bit of bump draft maybe going on there as well between the teammates.
I think De Bono wants this up the inside. Gowans will let him have it. Of course, Dylan is leading the championship. So why would you want to try and hold him up with 4 rounds to go in this season? Now, Cowie, I do want to ask you this. So, number 1, do you have any gigs on Saturday? Number 2, if you don't have a gig, you're going to come have a run in the wet on Saturday night?
Unfortunately, buddy, I've got gigs Friday, Saturday night this week, so I won't be able to join you boys out in the wet. That's one of the reasons I had a bit of a go of it today. But I will say it's going to be absolute carnage. You're going to see guys go for the move up the inside like they would normally do on a track, dry track. And there's just going to be no grip up there. And unfortunately, the car that they're going up the inside of, he's not going to be able to do anything about it either. and there's going to be contact, but you're going to see cars going off left and right. But it's going to take a while for people to work out how to race in the rain, and you're going to see those sort of attempts at moves, and there's just going to be no grip. I'm looking forward to it.
Mark Cochran's had another incident, and the car looks absolutely cooked. And that looks to be just, it's on the entry to the straight. So is he hooked? I believe he's hooked. We obviously mentioned the curb of death, but that's really actually the second curb of death on this track, is that exit curb. We can see his teammate tempting fate ahead. That was Stephanie Piccoli. Oh, no, he actually called the inside curb.
I don't know if there was a bump there or not. He has called it out on radio and asked race control to have a look at it. So, Matty Gerard say Daniel's a rocket at the moment. He's doing really well at the moment. Though DeBono is just putting pressure on this. DeBono just got past Byrne.
So back up, we'll check that out. We'll get the replay of how it happened too. Johnston's also had an incident, so Cochran's still going. This is the battle though for P1. We'll get our replay happening when we get a free chance. This is so much happening on track. Matty Gerard saying finding the dry line is so important in this new wet weather. Yeah, I mentioned the other day, I believe it was during the Supercars broadcast, I'm only ever going to mention it once. I'm not going to mention it again, but it's how you need to tackle racing in the rain. And for those who know will know, well, it's actually quite obvious of how you race in the rain. But I'm not going to mention it again because obviously I don't want everyone to know how to race in the rain, because otherwise then I lose any semblance of advantage for knowing how to tackle it. But, you know, it's a little bonus for those who are watching. It is a velocity sandwich at the moment, Matty. Sheefy in the chat is also saying, I hope everyone is having fun. Cheers again for Carrie to cover me. Well, we look forward to you coming back next week, Sheefy, and hearing that buttery voice over the comms once again. It'll be good to have you back. Now, Cowie, are you going to be back for F3s this week?
I think I should be, buddy. It was my brother's birthday this week, and he just happened to invite us out to the Morrison, so probably the best steakhouse in Brisbane. So you sort of can't really say no to those things. And, you know, because I've been earning my brownie points covering on Mondays with JP for the Formula Vs, and then covering again on Thursday nights for Mr. Sinker so he can rate, you know, I'm able to, you know, go out and enjoy a good steak. And it was.
Oh, that's good. I'm glad you enjoyed it, mate. I'm glad you enjoyed it, and I'm glad it was worth missing the absolute carnage that was caused. That's the moment with Johnston at turn 1. Oh, hold your brakes, son.
Oh, no, that's where you might be in trouble there for that.
Oh, look at them all just work their way around him. Unfortunately, it caught out Dean Sinkovic, who's now the leader of the class. It is.
I don't know if he's going to be able to get that round.
And this was Sam Catakazinos. He had an incident too.
Oh,
curb of death strikes again. Such a shame.
Well, that's the curb before the curb of death.
Well, it is. It's the curb of bad news.
The prelude to the curb of death.
Yeah. But DeBono now leads the way to Dougie Gowans, to Shane Ratcliffe, to Daniel Byrne. So the reason that Byrne lost the lead was he actually ran it wide, and that allowed DeBono up the inside at turn 1. Then Gowans has managed to get past him as well. And it is looking like it's going to be a Velocity SimLabs 1, 2, 3 here tonight for race number 1. This will be the final lap of the race. Only 8 laps for this one after the safety car. Remembering we have got another race to come here tonight, so we've still got more racing on offer from these little tin top gems out at Sebring, and it's delivered us some good racing so far, Cowie. Maybe not as many kind of battles of swapping and changing position as what I would have expected, but you know, 20 minutes around Sebring can go by super quick. But what it has given us is a good amount of carnage as well. So hopefully the next race.
Daniel Byrne there. What happened to Daniel Byrne there? They got past, and now he's back in 4th. So both of the other 2 Velocity SimLab cars, all 3 of them getting past Daniel Byrne in the last couple of laps.
Well, what we'll do is we'll get the replay happening at the end of the race, and we'll kind of have a look at how it actually happened. Oh, no, we got quick time, actually. So this is how he got it back from DeBono here. It was down the straight, and I reckon all this little battling has just started to kind of force him to drop some spots. You see, that's why there he ran it out super wide. That's then martyred the run down the straight. That's allowed Dougie Gowans into it.
Yep.
So it's kind of what's happening here. It's kind of, they're all just teaming up on him at this stage. But back to live now. The 20 minutes is up, and they are coming down the back straight for the final time here in race number 1. In fact, the time is actually having a bit of a crook go of it at the moment. It's kind of having a bit of a sook, but checker flag should be out this time by, and it is. De Bono will cross the line in P1. It looks like they're going for a photo finish here. What a shot for those guys. De Bono P1, Gowans in P2, to Ratcliffe in P3. It's a velocity 1, 2, 3 to Byrne and Bartish in the 5, and then Cornt, Fritzy, Delaney up to 8th, and then Turner and Noble in the background here in the 10. That was a good run from those boys, and they did well.
Getting Fritzy in the Pro-Am battle, and Dean Sinkovich taking out the AM. Ryan Price giving a black flag there near the end of the race, and we saw Soper run into trouble early on in the race, and who else was that? I'm trying to catch who it was.
I have just noticed as well, David Gallo was not on my list either, so he will now be getting put onto the list, of course, but he was actually inside the 10, so we will give the proper results once this is fixed here. There we go. So there is Mr. Gallo. He's in fact P8 to Delaney and Turner in 9th and 10th in behind. But it's not the only race we got tonight, Cowie. We've still got more to come for everyone at home to enjoy, and you know, I think in that one there, gave us a hint of some good battles starting to form, but I think they're really going to start to materialise here in the second race here tonight.
Look, great team effort by Velocity Sim Labs. 1, 2, 3. Daniel Byrne, or I thought at one stage there he thought he was maybe far enough up to have it almost sewn up, but a safety car bunching the field back together, and the 3 Velocity Sim Lab boys all able to, you know, maybe do a bit of double teaming, and all 3 of them getting past Daniel Byrne. So reverse top 10 for this second race.
Yeah, that's, you know, the reverse top 10. Going to bring a little bit of spice into it. Of course, that means that Turner will be pole position. Delaney will be in P2. Could be an opportunity here for someone to make a jump up the order and take advantage of those reverse grid conditions. That will bring it in, though, to our session there for that one. We will bring up our provisional results just quickly here. That was how they stood at the end of the first race here tonight. And of course, it's how they'll line up again in race 2, except the top 10 will be reversed. I'll just scroll down just to give you guys an idea of how they all finished out there. Of course, our only non-finisher was, well, even I think Callan and Steve actually managed to get back out on track. So they were just a couple laps down off the lead of the race, of course. But it was Dylan De Bono who took out the win. So it was a fair effort from those guys. What it means now is we're going to bring up our start grid for race number 2. As we mentioned, the field is the exact same except for the reverse top 10. So it was Mark Turner now on pole position after finishing P10 in race number 1 to Ty Delaney out of P2, making up the front row with David Gallo and Daniel Fritz in behind them on the second row of the grid. Then it's Tim Cornt. He'll basically just move up one spot from where he finished the last race. He finished in 6th. He now starts out of P5. Ahead of Daniel Bartish. Then it's Daniel Byrne, Shane Ratcliffe in behind, and then Dougie Gowans and Dylan De Bono will make up the top 10. Everyone else will start wherever they finished, and it'll give them a good opportunity to try and improve upon what they built in race number 1 here tonight, Cowie.
I say it again, have a look at who's on the front row. Just so happens another one of the fishy motorsports machines. Those piranhas always put themselves in a position where any of these reverse grids, they can take advantage of it. Ty making sure he got inside that top 10 and he starts on the front row. It's uncanny what those boys can do sometimes, but they all seem to, you know, have this inherent trait. Maybe it's a piranha thing. I don't know.
Yeah, it might just, there's something fishy in the air, Cowie. That's what it is, mate. It's just something fishy about this. Matthew Gerard saying Daniel needs his teammate to help. Well, he has got his teammate ahead of him. So, you know, that might give him some help. But having to try and, he's got the 3 velocity cars in behind, so that will at least do him a favour of he doesn't have to try and fight his way through them. He just has to hold them off, and I think possibly the other drivers on track will want to help him hold them off as well. Here in race 2, they won't want to let them pass for position either. Only a couple of drivers just head onto the grid, those being Shane Ratcliffe, Dylan De Bono, Shane Newens, and Steve Singovich, but we think Steve might be out of it due to some technical issues, but we'll have to wait and see. But, race 2, Cowie, we know what race 1 delivered for us. It offered us, some good little battles out there, some little hectic moments. What race 2 is now going to offer us is all that plus some strategy involved. And what that strategy will then involve and what could evolve into is giving us some even better battles on track by shaking up the field throughout the pit stop periods.
Well, no, it won't be a pit stop, buddy. This is 3 20-minute races tonight here for the GR86s. So we've just got 20-minute sprints for these guys. As the 5 lights come up and go out, they get away. A little bit of a slow start there from Ty Delaney, and had already been swamped by 3 or 4 cars. He's going to find himself on the outside. He's trying to get to the inside. So you can just see 5, 6, 7 cars getting a run on Ty there. So unfortunately not getting a good start.
Oh, we're going to see them make their way through as well. Look at all those cars and there's contact in the background with velocity drivers.
Oh.
Absolute scenes off the back of that one, Cowie. Catakazinos has been involved, so I believe Johnston, Soper.
Yep.
Look at them all everywhere.
Walker. Well, once I'd say we may well see another safety car again. We didn't actually do our little bet for the night, buddy, so it's sort of done, doesn't it now?
Yeah. Oh, maybe we could say, will we see one in this race and in the next one? I think possibly across both we could see another one.
Or Bet Veltson is struggling in the back there, so I don't know if he was caught up in that or he's had a mistake all of his own.
It's him just coming back on track, so that was what he may have been complaining about. Of course, he will do the run of replays after lap number 1, give everyone the update of what's happened with the majority of the drivers out there, if they've been involved in an incident or whatever's happened. And look at this, Gallo all over Turner.
Sending it. And that corner right next to him getting the run now on the outside, and has actually got ahead of Gallo, so really fighting hard at the moment. Daniel Byrne, Gallo's teammate in P7, so he's up a couple of spots. Dylan De Bono only up 1 spot at this stage.
So come down the back straight for the first time in race number 2. I'm glad you clarified that for me, that Cowie, that we don't have a 40-minute race, so no pit stops. What it means is, though, we spoke about desperation. We could see some desperation come into it throughout these next 2 heats. Of course, the third one will have the reverse top 5. Down the inside goes Corn on the leader, Mark Turner. As we come round, we will end the first lap of the race, but Turner wants this back. And look at this, some fantastic wheel-to-wheel action from him at this stage to start lap number 2, but we'll get the roll happening for the replays. So it started off with Hardwick having an off-track here. Early on, we can see them all make their way around, and then there's the contact.
Someone's lost the rear there, and there's just been a tiny little tap, and it's just created a concertina of bumps and hits and cars that will lose grip into the back there. Who was that? Was that Walker into the back of Ben Belson?
I think no, Walker was involved, but he was one that was actually hit. I think it might have been, it wasn't Johnston, wasn't Sopar, wasn't Hodgie, wasn't Catakazinos, wasn't Betts Felton, he's a bit further up. I'm not quite sure who it was, actually.
Race control will be having a big look at that incident, I'm sure.
Oh,
but yeah, you can see, look at those cars are broken. Looks like they have managed to get it around. Brendan Soper being black flagged. Not sure if it was for that incident.
I might have been Sopar that was involved, not 100% sure. And this was Ben Sveltson's incident. Or was he helped here? He was kind of forced out on track, off track.
I think I'll bumped again.
And then a bit of over-under, and that's what's kind of caused him round. And then Hodgkinson's had a big one a bit further round. I believe he was already hurting.
Oh, look at that car's grabbing.
Yeah.
Oh, look at it grabbing.
You can look at the
That's
steering.
terrible.
That thing's like it's set up to drift at the moment. Yeah, he's kind of just pulled it up. And I wouldn't be surprised if maybe he toes off the back of this as well.
The Shane Nowen's been given a black flag for contact as well.
So Corns also dropped a heap of spots. He also went off track.
Oh. Well, he was battling up the front there with Turner.
He was, and this is what's actually caused this here. It was both him and Gallo have been involved. So they came round turn 1 down towards 2. As Gallo sent it up the inside. Oh, that's a tough one. That's a real toughie, I must say.
I don't think David Gallo's going to be looking back at that incident with any favour or regard. It might cost him a penalty from race control to see what happens. But back to the front, it's Fritzy and Mark Turner battling hard here. And Fritzy going for the move up the inside to take lead of this race.
He's done well, has the admin for this series. He's done well just to shoot the half and get it done and dusted. Now leads the race to Byrne in the background there. Also wants it on Turner as well. He's not giving anything up at this stage. On board with him now. As we make our way down towards turn 6. Hard braking zone. Very good spot to make a move if you can make it stick. And could Turner be on here for kind of just dropping as the laps go on? You know, he covers the inside. Great little defensive move from him there. Just plants the car right in the middle of the road. And now Byrne's going to have to wait for another opportunity to get this done over the course either of this lap or the next one if he can get a good run on him.
Great action here as the boys trying to find any way through. But it is close running up front. Turner sticking his nose up a little bit. Byrne trying to carry momentum through. Trying to stay up the inside there, but he's got a bit more momentum on Turner this time. Turner shutting the door. De Bono going for a big move up the inside there now too. How close is that? And Byrne, who was looking to make a move himself, gets done by De Bono a couple of corners later.
So this battle is far from over. Ratcliffe is also starting to get dragged into this. De Bono has gotten it done on Byrne, as we mentioned. Turner just trying to come back at Fritzy now. But it looks to be that most of the podium finishes from the last race are actually going to be battling it out hard here. De Bono up the inside of Turner, though. Can he get it done down the straight? It's going to be a drag race down to the final couple of corners. Who's going to get the advantage? Look at them. They're they are literally side by side at the same pace. And you can see there, Ratcliffe wants it up the inside of Byrne, although he was off track. He was past the line there. Cuts the... Oh, no!
Ratcliffe lost it. I don't know if there was any net code there. There was definitely no contact. But, unfortunate for Ratcliffe.
Gotta love the fact that we at least have a blimp at our disposal in the budget for us to get those sorts of camera shots.
Up the inside there from Turner on Byrne as well, and he's got too much. I don't know if there was contact there, but he carried a lot of speed on the entry there to T1.
Bit too much butter on the toast, I think, on that one. He just melted it through turn 1. You see it here. He looked to shoot the half. There's Byrne.
No, it's contact with Byrne.
Oh, you hate to see it.
Unfortunate. It's so close, these guys racing hard and close together. It's bound to happen, and we've seen it a couple of times now in this race.
He's still parked up there. We could be on here for a safety car if he's still there. So if I try and see where his name is, he's still parked. So I reckon this could be a safety car.
But he's not. That's not really a safe area.
It's not a safe area to call for a tow, being in the fact of someone could run wide and hit him, or someone could come out of the pits if they've been in there and hit him as well. And you could just see then the body roll on these cars and the amount of the wheel can get up in the air through these corners. It is an absolute arm wrestle to keep these things round on this track. You'll also notice something as well that I noticed today, Cowie, of it's kind of a little detail that's come after this update. You can actually now see inside the helmet of the drivers.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if it was just something with these cars, but I did notice that myself. Race control on the radio, safety car, safety car, safety car. So it will be out on track and maybe calm things down a little bit. But look at this front now. Daniel Fritz, Dylan DeBono, Ty Delaney, Doug Gowans, Daniel Burns. So Burns just getting, I don't know if he got offline there because he got swamped and got passed by both Delaney and Gowans on that last lap.
This was the incident here with Byrne and Turner. So we're just going to sit on board here. Not gearbox. We'll sit with this one. And there it is. That's the contact there.
Oh, yeah, and that cost him those couple of spots.
Yeah, and that's what put Turner into the wall. That was what that was. So that's just a bit of an onboard for us from Byrne's perspective. But Fritzy leads the way. It'll be another safety car. We're getting safety cars at the midpoint of the race in both the first race. I think we could almost guarantee, Cowie, that by the 10-minute point of the third race, we're going to have another safety car. What do you reckon? I think, statistics point the way of yes.
I reckon they might get through the third race clean because they've got it all out of their system by now. But
you sounded hesitant to say that. I'm not going to lie. Like, you sounded very, very questionable.
I'm hesitant to say there's going to be no safety car in the third race. It's almost against my creed.
You were very questionable on your statement there. It didn't sound like you were completely confident, but
no.
I guess our word is all we have off the back of that, isn't it? It's like, well, what can we say? It's either going to be there is going to be one or there isn't, but we hope there isn't.
With the V8s on a Tuesday night, we've been pretty clean for the last few weeks, I think. It's been a while since there's been a safety car for the V8s.
Yeah, I can't even remember if there was one on Tuesday. I'm going to be honest.
No, there wasn't one on Tuesday.
There wasn't one at Mugello, and there wasn't one at Silverstone either. So I think the last time was round 4. Well, round 3 actually when we last had it.
Round 3, yeah. And I mean, I think that's been both the Pro-Am and the Pro-Am. There hasn't been a safety car either week. Of course, the F3s was carnage all last night, you tell me, so I'm sure there was the safety car question would have been an interesting one to ask at the start of the night.
Well, we haven't been doing the bet as of late, actually, Cowie. We've kind of been saving that for you and I, but there were some safety cars over the hour. I believe it was the least amount of laps we've ever done in Bathurst in the F3s in an hour. So they should have gotten to 31 laps if they ran green, and they went to 24 laps. I will check my stats on it just to double check in future that was in fact the least amount of laps we've actually completed. But yeah, I think the safety car was out there for about 6 laps, which, as you would know, is actually quite a long time for a safety car to be out at Bathurst, being that it is a 3-minute lap under safety car. You do the maths. It was out there for about a third of the race. So, you're bound to lose some time off the back of that one. But we've got the safety car here tonight. We've already had it once. This is our second time. The young guppy Ty Delaney could be on here for a quality finish if he can hold off the grandpa Dougie Gowans. A real battle of the generations here tonight, Cowie, between those two. We've seen them have some battles across other series in SRW, but now it's the opportunity for them to do it for a podium position here in these little tin top rockets that are the GR86s.
Matt Fairley in the purple machine back there in P6, so he's having a good run so far. Delaney, the leading Pro-Am at the moment, then Fairley, then, I should say Fritzy.
Yeah.
But we've got, 4 Pro-Ams.
5 Pro-Ams in the top 10.
5 Pro-Ams in the top 10, yeah.
Yep. And then our leading amateur is in the top 12.
Yeah.
That being Mr. Dean Sinkovich. So he's just trying to consolidate and, hold on to possibility of an AM championship. What it will mean is, though, if he does get that, is he'll go up to Pro-Am next season. So, but if he's getting finishes like this in Pro-Am, then he'd still be within a hunt for that championship too. I mean, he would... On the road, he would be P6 at the moment if he was in the Pro-Am class, so he'd be laughing at that one as well.
Showing some what happens when you put a bit of focus into a car and a bit of practice. I mean, one of the hardest things about iRacing is really, having the time to practice, and when you try to drive more than one car, that makes it quite difficult. Oh, it looks like the leaders up front have gone.
They caught us off guard a little bit there, but we go racing once again out at Sebring. Just about 6.5 minutes to go in this one. So make our way around turn number 1 again. It looks like we may be in the darkness here for the end of race 3 here tonight, because the headlights are starting to get a bit brighter at this stage.
Yeah,
Make our way through.
Well, it is one of those tracks that does have good night sort of racing capabilities. Doug Gowan's getting the move done quickly there on Delaney on the restart. I think Veerley also getting one up on Byrne there as well. So those guys both getting a spot. Now DeBono making a move around the inside on Fritz. He's going to have the inside running down that middle straight and gets it done easily. So race 1 winner back into the lead for race number 2. He's got a habit of doing this, buddy, showing his class in driving these cars.
Yeah, he's kind of becoming almost not a household name, but just one you see. If you see him on the entry list, you could argue he's a challenger for a win, no matter what car he's in. We saw him take the win last night in the F3s. He's already gone for the double here tonight. He won the first race in the 8.6s, and maybe he's going for the triple win here tonight. 3 wins in one night, make it 4 out of 2 days. Be a hell of a run for him if he can get it done.
At the moment, he's just got great speed. He did have some internet issues when he first started racing with SRW. He's since got that sorted out, and you can see that he's got aggression, but I think he's also dialed, not so dialed back the aggression, but he's mixed it with good race smarts. And there's a couple of cars. Looks like we've had a bingle in the background. Who's that? Is that
it's
Mark Turner, Callan Hodgkinson?
So those guys have now had a bit of a moment together. We'll head back up the front though, just on our static cams for the moment, just so we can see off this restart lap anything that might be happening in the background, just so we can kind of catch it happening in the moment. Around the final corner they come here to start lap number 7. 16.5 minutes into proceedings, Cow. You'd have to argue, 2 more laps of this race, you reckon? Being it's about a 2.5 minute lap.
Yeah, we'll probably get 2 more. You're right. Won't get any more than that. Not as we come down to almost 3 minutes to go. I mean, but DeBono again doing everything he needed to do. He's had a couple of safety cars help bunch the field back up. David Gallo was given a black flag for that incident that causing the safety car incident, I believe. But there was also a moment in the background there. Was that Callan Hodgkinson was involved? Dan Bartosh was involved. Don't know if Cam Hardwick was involved in that one as well. But on that restart lap.
So we see off the back here of Dylan DeBono's car just the sort of gap that is starting to be built on the cars in behind. David Simmons has had an incident. Let's check out what's happened to him just quickly. Oh, we still got it on quarter speed. Let's change that quickly. So it was into turn 1. Does he just run it wide? Oh no, big tank slapper.
Yep.
From the Kiwi, and just manages to pull it up. So he was quite lucky off that.
Damage. Yeah, avoided any major damage.
So lap 7, 2 minutes to go, and we are getting closer and closer to checkered flag flying on race number 2. And it's been a good showing here tonight, Cowie, of, there's been some carnage happening, but there's also been some good battles out there too. But they are just starting to get into their rhythm now. I would have loved to have seen how they would have handled a longer race here at this track, and what would have come from some strategy play as well off these cars.
Well, one of the appeals of these cars too is that these guys, this sort of style of racing means they don't have to worry about looking after tyres or worrying about fuel strategy, where they can just jump in and send it. And I suppose it is what this car is really designed for, that close racing where you can, really sort of go deep into the braking zone, it'll still pull up on you. You can try and sort of push it closer to its limits. See that they're getting a big sort of, half slide their tyre, and the front biting on him, and he had to let it out quickly or he would have looped it round. But that's what these cars are about. It's all about trying to get used to driving closer to the edge and getting used to that feel of being, right on the edge of control to be fast.
Well, we have had an incident in the background just quickly, ladies and gentlemen. It is Vic Bentz-Veltson. We'll see what he's quickly done here, and then we'll cut back to the action here for the final lap of the race. So the locked-on lads car sent it into the curb of death. Oh, and that's why it caused it.
It's claimed its victim.
Hasn't put him in the wall, luckily. He went the right way there off the back of the curb of death. Usually it shoots you off to the right-hand side of track, left-hand side of screen. But it actually put him on the right-hand side of screen, left-hand side of track. So he was pretty lucky off the back of that one. But De Bono to Fritz to Gowans. That's the current podium here for race 2. Delaney has been pipped by Dougie. And then it's Court making up the 5. Byrne, Price, Noble, Cochrane, and Ratcliffe make up the top 10.
Something's happened to Sinkovich.
It has.
Yeah, he's fallen down the line. Tumbling down the order. What's happened there?
Try and get some images for you just quickly. So this was Phil Buckland, having an incident in the background. Oh, and he's hit the curb of death too. Nearly rolls it. That's 2 laps in a row that's happened now. Then John McHenry, you see him here running with Sinkart down towards turn 6. Has he just missed his brake marker possibly? Oh, no. He's just... Oh, and that's why.
Oh, car in front.
Yeah.
Yep. He's had to avoid McHenry there. Don't know if there was contact there as well, but De Bono sending it wide on that last corner down the back straight. He's already got this out to a 1.3 second gap. This will be the last lap of the race, only really the last corner to go. And it's going to be 2 from 2 for Dylan De Bono.
Yeah, he's all he's got to do is just minimise the mistake around the final corner. And he will have this done here tonight and go 2 from 2 in the current proceedings. Around the final corner he comes. It's 2 wins in 2 races for Dylan De Bono. An absolutely mega effort from him. But one you can't take away from is Daniel Fritz, P2 in this race. What a run from him. And Gowans manages to follow his teammate up onto the podium and get it into P3. What a race as well from Ty Delaney. He only dropped 2 spots in that one there. An absolutely mega effort from him.
Daniel Byrne, P5. So both of those guys, Delaney and Byrne, both guys that are known for positioning himself in the right spot. Third race is a reverse top 5, so it will be Byrne and Delaney on the front row. Can Ty get a better start this race and maybe stay up the front battling hard? We'll have to see.
Well, one thing I was going to mention was if he actually didn't boggy start in race 2, he would have probably been where Fritzy was. Obviously that's only semantics. We can't really 100% claim that, but, might have given him a better spot for it.
Yeah, shoulda, coulda, woulda, maybe.
Yeah.
No. Those sort of things don't work for you. In a motor race, you get the start wrong and suddenly, you'll see 5 to 10 cars go past you. So, again, well, Ty's, he's had one poor start now. Well, that'll be something he will practice in the warm-up just to try and nail that down, make sure a good one. And yeah, Matty Gerard, another great drive from your teammates out there, Velocity Sim Sorts and Fritzy. Yeah, what a great drive from Fritzy, P2 overall. And taking out, again, the Pro-Am class.
So this was our provisional results for race 2 here tonight. It was De Bono to Fritz to Gowans to Delaney to Byrne. That was the 5. They will be reversed for the grid in the next one. Then to Corn, Price, Cochrane, Noble and Ratcliffe. That was the top 10. It was then Hardwick, Edwards, Dean Singovich, John McHenry, Sam Catacasinos making up the 15. And then Feely to Piccoli in 17th. That was a good run from Steph there to get into P2. And then David Gallo in P18. So she was P2 in her class there. Of course, our podium for our classes was De Bono, Gowans and Byrne. Fritzy, Delaney and Price. And then Singovich, Piccoli and Newens out of P19. So they were our 3 podium finishes for race number 2 here tonight. And of course, Singovich was out very early. I think possibly still struggling with his wheel, Cowie, and he just wasn't able to get going in race 2.
Yeah, he's had a couple of packet loss, so I don't know what's going on there. Something's tripping out his computer there at the moment.
Nah, we're not making up for you there, Shane. You got to get into the booth to make up for that one, son. We're not doing your shout outs for you. Just quickly as well, we'll bring up all of our info.
He needs the brownie points, buddy. Come on. His wife Amanda, Alex and Eli. The kids there. Get me in the good books, please, boys. So I don't know if our brownie points are going to be worth any more for you, Ratty. But, you know, it's been good so far, buddy. You just have to let us know what happened in race number 2 there.
They're only good for us if we get brownies out of it. That's the only positive off that one. Just quickly as well, ladies and gentlemen, we'll bring up our info for Saturday night. Do not miss it. Coming your way at Super Soaker Saturday, our entry into rain for iRacing here on Sim Racing World TV. Of course, we started out the sessions all open 7:30 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Savings Time. So for IMSA and for Formula 3, you'll get a little bit more time to practice than what the 86s will, but we'll be running, starting the broadcast 8 o'clock. You'll get 20 minutes of qualifying for the 86s, and then you'll be getting 2 races of 20 minutes in the rain around Oran Park. Should be an absolute blitz of a time. We then head over to our preview for our new Formula 3s going into Season 2, of course, running the Super Formula Light cars around Phillip Island in the rain. Their qualifying will start, sorry, no, you know what it is? I've just realised what it is. So 7:30 p.m. will be when our 86s start. We then go 8:35 p.m. for the Super Formula Lights, because that'll give time for people to get into the Super Formulas if they race in the 86s. They'll get 20 minutes of quali, 40 minutes of racing. We'll then head over to Le Mans for IMSA, 9:40 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Savings Time, 15-minute quali, 45 minutes of racing around Le Mans in changeable conditions. So if you are an SRW member, you will be open to join these. Be sure to let everyone know if you're going to be racing. There's a post in the Discord. Get onto it. Get into it. Have some fun in the rain. Come for a dip with us as we attempt 3 iconic tracks. 2 of them from Australia, 1 of them from Europe, for some absolutely ballistic action coming your way Saturday night. 3 hours of content coming drivers' way on an extra day this week, Cowie. Man, how much more could you want?
It would be pretty awesome. If I wasn't gigging, I would definitely be there myself. As I said to you, buddy, I had a go with the rain this afternoon, and it feels so bad that it's so good. Like, it just slides into places where you expect it to. You know, you can see the puddles on the road, and when you go through them, the car starts to aquaplane. It's so far so good. I know there were content creators that put videos up early this week sort of speaking about how good it was, initial first impressions. Well, I'll join my voice with them. So far so good.
Yeah, from what I've seen, it looks absolutely insane, and we're going to get a first-hand look at it come Saturday night, as I mentioned. It'll be me and Sinker in the green in the booth. So don't worry, guys. If you're worried about Sinker trying to go out there and race in the wet, and even though he already spins enough in the dry, you don't have to worry about him being out there. He will be in the comments box, so you'll be safe from Sinker on track. But we can't guarantee who else is going to be out there. So, but come and have some fun with us. It's going to be a good time checking out how the rain works, how the changeable conditions work as well, and hopefully we can get some good fun racing out of it. Nothing on offer pretty much, other than bragging rights of saying, hey, you were the best in the rain on the night.
Well, that third race where you're talking about it being either wet to dry or dry to wet, it's going to be interesting if it does be a dry to wet race, if anyone tries to stay out there on slicks, because the word is at the moment that slicks a wet track are impossible.
Yeah, it's almost like trying to go ice skating on rollerblades. Like, it's an impossibility. Like, it's I saw when Jimmy Broadbent went for it at Brands Hatch, and he literally come out of the pits and immediately went off at turn 1. Like, there was just no grip at all. So it's going to give us a good laugh, a good opportunity to check it out and to test some things out, and hopefully as well give us a good opportunity to bring you guys some fun and exciting action across 3 great tracks. And I think I'm most excited for Phillip Island with those new F3 cars. Phillip Island always delivers, being whether it's strategy or on-track action. I think in the wet, it's going to offer us some absolutely fantastic action as well.
Crazy.
Oh,
I mean, I know
it will be.
I know that a few of the GR86 guys already sort of saying we should have had rain this week. Well, try it out on Saturday, boys, and we'll talk to you again next Thursday and see if you're still up for it.
Well, I was going to say as well, Sebring's not a track that you particularly want wet, being in the fact of a lot of the corners are on camber, and of the different compounds that the ground is made of. Obviously, we mentioned the tarmac and concrete composite. And the concrete, it would be an absolute swimming pool out there. And I don't know if they'd actually be having as much fun as what they think they would. We'd be having an absolute ball cow if it was in the rain, because there'd be so much more happening. And we're already having heaps of action happening at the moment. But it would be absolutely insane if we'd had that here tonight. But what it means is, though, once it's debuted Saturday, it means that your race could be in the rain come next week or even the last round. So, you know, it just see how much you like it on Saturday and then get prepped, because you might have rain come next Thursday night. We'll have to wait and see. But, you know, nice little 10-minute warm-up here for the drivers just to get their iron a little bit, possibly go have a bit of a break and, you know, just have a bit of a breather. What we will do is, ladies and gentlemen, we'll pick a car. We'll go on board with him. I reckon Bartosz is a good one to go on board with, being the fact that he is cutting some good laps here. We'll sit on board with him for a lap or so. Then we'll come back and we'll get into our final race of the night. We'll be back soon. Great to be back, ladies and gentlemen. Whether you went and got a drink, had a breather, or had a bit of a stretch, I just so happened to do 2 of those things. I'll let you decide which one it was. But it was good just to kind of reset, get ready to go for the final race here tonight. Cowie, we kind of spoke off air in the break of, you know, we've had some good little action packs happening here tonight. Some good little moments happening too, but it could be getting turned up to 10 come the final race now, being that there will be some desperado actions happening.
Yeah, I will and truly think I might have put my foot in it by saying this is going to be a clean safety car free race. We will see what happens as we, you know, start to get the cars to grid up for our feature race at the moment. So yeah, been good so far tonight, buddy, and I think race number 3 is going to be no exception.
Yeah, it's you know, it's really offers it up a good insight into the wheel-to-wheel action that can be offered from 8.6 Racing. and it's giving us a good view of how much of a wrestle these are to get around a track, and how much the driver's actually having to work for it. It's, you know, it's a car that rewards you for being smooth, but it's also a good learning curve if you ever want to get into some touring car racing, such as, you know, the supercar or something of that, you know, genre. Not even just in iRacing, but in real life racing as well, even if you want to move into Carrera Cups. This is a real good starting point because you're going to learn those little nuances of keeping the car controlled. It's real, you know, this car, at the end of the day, is basically like you're going racing in a road car. You know, there's not much different to it compared to the road car. They just put a wing on it, put a roll cage in it, and gut it. And then, you know, you go racing where all the other ones are kind of race-made machines. So it's really going to offer us up, or it has offered it up so far, and offers drivers up the opportunity just to get their iron a little bit prior to wanting to move up into those other versions of tin top racing.
033. I'm just listening to race control at the moment.
Yep, that'll be Kevin Wakefield if he was copying something. Just while you listen to him, we'll quickly run through our starting grid. The only change that's happened is the top 5, as we mentioned, off the back of the finish of race number 2. So it'll be Daniel Byrne lining up pole position ahead of Ty Delaney out of P2 with Dougie Gowans in P3 here tonight. Daniel Fritz lining up in behind them in P4 with Dylan DeBono coming home in P5. So that top 5 has been reversed. The rest of the grid is how they finished it out in race number 2. Sorry, Ratcliffe will be at the end of the top 10. Obviously, Singovich will be hoping to move up the order a little bit. He leads at this stage in time on their podium running. Piccoli's in P2 for them, and then it's Newen's P3, but he'll have Wakefield lining up right alongside him with Simmons in behind, so that'll be a nice little tasty battle, possibly for even upwards of P2 for that podium finish in the amateur class. But we're going to get our lights up in just a moment, Kyo. We're going to get ready to go racing for one final time around Sebring here tonight for the GR86s here, brought to you by Shannon's Insurance.
That was Kevin Wakefield. They were talking about there. He's been given a pit lane start for incident in race. And I think Katakazinos has also been told about a pit lane start as well.
Oh, so we get some interesting developments going forward. Also, ladies and gentlemen, what's going to be a good preview for you for next week? Well, we already mentioned Saturday night, but next week's round, we go racing Phillip Island in the 8.6s. What an absolute cracker that is going to be, Carrie, to see these things rip around Phillip Island. We've already had some good racing there this season, and it looks to be that these guys are going to have a crack at making it even better. We'll then go there for the F3s later in the season as well, so there's so much more action coming your way. Lights are up, though, for race 2. Let's get going here, or race 3, sorry. Let's get going for the final race of the night out at Sebring. Who's going to get the jump? We get going once again. It was a good start there from Byrne in the background. A couple of drivers, though, really bogged it off the start.
Yeah, Delaney again, bogging down off the start there, not getting a good one, and he's already got 4 or 5 cars coming past.
So see them coming to turn 1. Real big battle packs just starting to form.
They're already tied Delaney back to, is that P4 or P5 there now, as
oh, that's pricey.
Ono.
Sorry to interrupt you, Kerry. I believe that was Ryan Price off the curb and into the wall. Oh, you can see the damage on the front of it there. Back up the front.
Oh, plenty happening already, and we can see there DeBono just having a little bit of a look at Gowans as well. Horns up, whereas Fitzy's up into P5. Yes, so that's Ty Delaney back in P6, and looks like he's under pressure from Mark Cochran there as well. So, you know, so Ty just taking a little bit of time to get himself sort of seated in these cars. Poor start, and then maybe cold tyres just struggling a little bit early on.
Yeah, it's really, really starting to show that that start is absolutely imperative in these things. Otherwise, you get absolutely swamped. Mitchie Noble in behind him. We've seen him struggle across other series in SRW, but he's having a great run here tonight in the 8.6s. He wants it up the inside of Delaney. Not quite close enough. Hits the curb, and he's spun round off the exit. Needs to hold the brakes, though. Oh, no. That was McHenry who was caught up in it as well, Cowie. But he did so well.
Oh, that's pricey
as well. And there's Price in the background too.
Oh,
it's absolutely going off for them. But back up the
chaos
front.
once again at the start of the GR86s. Will that bring a call out from race control for a safety car? Well, I think they've all got going at the moment. But Daniel Byrne out to a 1.1 second lead at the moment.
Yeah, he is at this stage. He's done well to get it to that spot in that position. As we come round the final corner for the first time in race number 3, we'll get some replays rolling for you just to see what has happened off the race starts here. So this was the first one. It was Ryan Price heading it off track. It was down into turn number 2, so he brought it round, brought it off track, and then this was the rejoin that got it. It was just a big bump for him, and that's what then put him into the wall.
Lucky not to take anyone else out there too with that curve, right? Just showing you, once these cars get up off a couple of wheels hitting those curves, you're a passenger. A big deep dive from Fritzy, so that's what cost him early on. But he rejoined safely there. I did think he was up a bit further. So Bartosz, he's gone around the outside. Who's that? That's spun
David
in
Simmons.
the middle.
I believe it was David Simmons possibly who copped that one. It is indeed. So has he just sent it up? Oh, and he's caught the curb. That's what's done it.
Just a curb.
Yeah.
Yeah. And again, just unsettling the car.
I'll tell you what, man, these cars absolutely hate curbs, don't they? Like, they are not... Curbs are not your friend in these cars at the end of the day. This was Mitchie Noble. We saw it, a big incident, clipping that curb, and just caught a heap of drivers out.
So John McHenry and...
possibly David Gallo.
David Gallo got caught out on that as well, and that was unlucky. Both those boys couldn't do anything, I don't think. There. So, wow. Again, we see, action aplenty in that mid to back pack there, and it was all going on.
So lap 2 now, we can see De Bono and Gowan still battling it out hard in behind Daniel Byrne. And then we got Tim Corn trying to chase him down. He's hopping curb. Just saw him at the last minute there. He just avoided. He knew, do not hit that curb of death. Could have ended poorly for him. There's been a big incident in the background, though, involving Callan Hodgkinson. We'll bring this up on screen for you just to check out what's happened to him. So, there's been a knock with Turner. These guys banging doors. They're still not giving it up. Oh, that's a real questionable one, I would say, on that one there, Cowie. Obviously, we can't comment on it too much.
It's possible there's a bit of net code in that as well, because sort of cars inside each other. But that car's broken and not going anywhere, so I would not be surprised to see that safety car call. Keeping an ear on radio, and I haven't heard anything as yet. Oh, Gowan's big move up the inside of Byrne there, and De Bono's looking to try and make this 2-3 wide. Look at how tight they are racing.
Oh, they are indeed. And I'll tell you what, Hodgkinson has also towed back to pits. So I don't know if you heard the call for him to tow back or not, Cowie, but that could be an illegal tow, and he would then be unable to finish this race. But Byrne is gone off the back of the battle.
So easy to make tiny little mistake. Was it a bit of curb or a bit of contact?
Oh, no, he just lost it.
Bit of dirt.
Yeah.
Yep. And got out on the dirt there, wheel out the dirt, and it's not coming back from that. Unfortunately, just driving so hard. And sometimes it's like that, where you're pushing so hard to try and stay with these guys. Both the Velocity SimLab machines have been express-based tonight. And yeah, tiniest little bump or little transfer weight the wrong way, and suddenly the car goes and you can't catch it.
So we can see here just the tight, intense battles starting to happen. David Gallo's also had an incident in the background, so it's not good here for Carlins in this affair. You see him involved in this. He's got Batush ahead of him. Oh, Bartosz has gone way wide. He's tried to avoid it, caught the curb, and that is not going to end happy for anyone off the back of that.
And Mark Turner given a black flag for an incident in that, probably that first big incident involved
I believe that was with Hodgkinson. That would be what that was for.
Yeah.
Can't particularly say I'm surprised, but At the end of the day, it was also race control's decision as well.
Tim Taunt put great pressure on DeBono here at the moment too, and that's given Dougie a little chance to skip ahead.
It is indeed. On board with him
It
now.
does look good seeing the driver's eyes. You know, be even better if we see them move.
Oh, I know, right? It would be... It's like they're just looking into dead space at the moment. If they could turn their heads while they were turning corners, that would be almost too realistic, I would think. But yeah, it's a good view to be able to check them out, obviously, and see how they're going. Here's our other one from the pedal box too. I haven't really used it very much tonight, but that just gives us a good eye as well of the wheel work from these drivers. There's been an incident with Ryan Price and my co-commentator Stephanie Piccoli and Vic Bentzvellen and Mick Clifton. So what's happened here? Here's Pricey. We know he was struggling early. Oh, that's Katakazinos. Hold your brakes, son. Good job. And then Piccoli, this was what happened to her. Down through the final corner. It's a real struggle bug of a corner in these cars and just unable to pull it up, and into the wall she went. Oh, no, that's huge. Oh.
That's why we've had a request to tow out there. Absolute chaos.
Oh, I could hear in the background there was an even bigger one in the background. I could hear it happening.
Yeah, and a safety car has been called again, so there goes my thoughts for no safety car this race. But yeah, look, just horrendous. Who was that?
Crunch.
Relaxed.
That was
McHenry again.
Yeah, possibly. This was it was Bent Veltzen. Bent Veltzen.
Ben Veltzen. Oh, yeah. That was. He's just absolutely pulverized Stephanie there, and nothing he could do about it.
And I'm gonna have to have a word. I'm gonna have to have a word to Steph whenever we're in the commentary box together again, because she failed to hold brakes there from my point of view.
I don't know if she had an option there. It looked like the car just bounced out of the tyres. But mind you, she did look like she was trying to get on the gas there. I don't know. So yeah, well, we'll leave that for race control. But it's created absolute carnage. And look at that. That's another car. Who was that? That just lost their front right.
I believe it was Dan Bartush.
Dan Bartush, yeah. Because you look at this. As soon as this contact's made, now the front right of his car's just gone. It's just gone.
Oh, yeah, absolutely massive. And you know,
he might have been actually able to drive it straight into the pits there. That might have been his only saving grace.
One thing
if he's got a fast repair left, he'll be able to get back in it.
Ironically, Cowie, we've had I called it. We've had a safety car we've had an incident about the 8-minute mark of each race, and the safety cars then come out at about 10 minutes in. So it was it's how things were meant to go here tonight, it seems.
Well, I know you were saying to me before the race you didn't think there'd be many safety cars here tonight because there's lots of runoff.
Yeah.
But we're seeing there that, like, that last corner, it's a great corner because there's multiple lines you can take into it. But it does seem that in these cars, one of those lines is go in too fast, get understeer, and car goes into tyre barrier and brakes.
Well, it's, I mean, we mentioned it early on. It's like the only way you'd get a safety car here was if you had a car on its roof, if you had a massive pile up, which you've just had, or if you had someone stuck in the wall pretty much. So that's how it's happened in all three races, really. The first race, there was a car on its roof. This race, we had a big pile up, and race 2, I can't even remember what incident caused the race 2. Oh, that's right. It was Mark Turner off the exit of turn 1. He was just unable to pull away. So,
but not so much the sticky walls, holding onto the cars, but the tyre barriers absolutely destroying these 86s to the point that you can't even drive them, can't even move them.
Yeah, Sheafy in the chat saying her suspension went bust, causing the rear end to lift, and brakes wouldn't do anything. Yeah, no, that's a fair point as well. I mean, maybe whenever she's in the comms box with me again, I'll just say to her, hey, what happened from your point of view in the car when that incident happened?
It was Sheafy saying that suspension bust, the rear end lifts, and the brakes wouldn't do anything.
Yeah,
certainly possible, buddy. Again, it's up to race control to look at those sort of incidents. But it's like there's so many lines you can take through that final corner. And the problem is that several of the lines you can take through there are the ones that end really badly with the tyres on the end of them.
No, that's right. And that final corner is always one that can cause some carnage and some massive damage to to cars on track, no matter what you're in. I mean, we've seen it in the past with TCRs, with F3s, and now with the 86s as well. So, you know, we're going to be on for what looks like a very tasty final sort of 6 minutes, we would say, when the safety car comes in. We have actually had some waiver rounds this time by, though, comparatively to other races. But yeah, I mean, what a massive incident it was. That might be one of the biggest we've seen all season across every single series. The only one I could call bigger would be at Watkins for the IMSA race with the GTDs on the first lap. Like, that's really the only bigger incident I've seen to this point.
It's one of the things that, you know, they're the incidents that we love to see, virtual incidents. You don't want to see that for real on a racetrack, because it's those sort of high-speed ones like that, you know, a car coming through Dan Bartush, and who was the other car that come flying through, John McHenry, I think. You know, they're ones that, you know, that's where you see your light flash between your, you know, before your eyes in the real incident. You know, virtual, we can, you know, have a little bit of a giggle over it at the end, or maybe be angry that it costs us our race. But, you know, I suppose the great thing about virtual is that you're not endangering yourself. Because in the end, we've got to remember that motor racing is a dangerous sport.
It is. Just a couple more chats before we get to the end of our safety car period, as it is pulling away. Shivy's saying, not normal to have a safety car for these guys. Hopefully when I come back, they become pros again. I reckon they're just putting a show on for us, Shify. That's what it is. They knew that I was going to be in here for the first time with the 86s, and Cow would be joining me, and they were like, let's turn it on for the boys and give them something. You know, we know that, well, they know that I love a bit of carnage, and they just wanted to turn it on for me. And then, yeah, you are right. It is Phillip Island next week, Shify, so it should be an absolute cracker for these guys and girls out there. And then Matty Gerard also saying, can Shane get past Korn for a velocity shutout? Well, they've already had their velocity shutout tonight, haven't they? They had it race 1. Could they do it again, though, for race number 3? We're going to come round. We're going to start lap number 6 of this race. It'll be about 5.5 minutes to go of proceedings. Gowans leads them away for the first time here tonight. This is the first time he's been able to lead them off a restart. De Bono, though, he is going camping on the back of Doug Gowan's car.
Look at Ratcliffe as well, buddy. You can see the advantage of him being in the same chat as his two teammates up front, deciding where it's going. A little bit of contact there, but he got that move done because he knew exactly when they were going to go. So that's teamwork. And Tim Korn, unfortunately, getting bullied by the Velocity Sim Lab boys there.
Yeah, it's a shame he doesn't have his teammates with him to really put some pressure on him. I'll tell you what, I'm really impressed with him tonight. Mark Cochran. I've seen him struggle in F3s and in IMSA on weeks past, but it seems that the 86s are his absolute baby. I found out last night he's a Year 12 teacher, so if any of his students are out there watching, well, continue watching us, but get onto your homework, please, because that's all he asked of us last night. As we come through.
Tomato's gone wide there.
He has, and that could be a slowdown.
He tried to make a move. It's cost him 3 or 4 spots there. I wonder if he tried to make a move on Dougie and got caught up around the outside.
I possibly could have. That should be definitely a slowdown for him as well. But Ben Feltzen and Bartosz have been involved in an incident. This was for their lap 4, which was it on the exit of the pit lane possibly. Oh no, this was during the safety car period, so that's what that happened there. They didn't know if they could go past the safety car, but we got Korn versus Ratcliffe at the moment. This is for P2 in the race. Gowans has just started to break away here. So De Bono's little mistake could have cost them another triple podium here tonight, and the possibilities of him taking a triple win, that could be out the window now. 4 minutes to go on this race, Cowie, and could be on for young and old just yet. With Gowans leading the way.
Race, but 4 minutes to go. They're only going to really get 2 more laps in. So, you know, it's definitely fallen into the grandpa's lap at the moment. And at the moment, he's got almost a second lead over his teammate, though the draft is bringing them back inside that 1 second gap now. Tim Korn has had a great race 2 and 3 tonight. Got himself right in the hunt there. You see losing the front, but then gaining back control of it again. It's just cost him a little bit of speed. But yeah, De Bono will be the one to watch. He's in behind Cochran. Can he get it done? And that is Feely, who was having a great run as before as well, but now he's killed that car and that's not going anywhere. Oh no, he's got it going. but there's no way he's getting that round for another lap.
Nah, he'd have to come in and fix it, surely. So, oh, you see, it was a big drift, clipped the inside wall, and that's what's then put him into that wall. His steering's also broken there, or the suspension's broken on the front of that car.
Yeah.
And just a tough night for the Palmerston Bakery entries of CXR as he brings it in to get it fixed. But Dougie Gowans leads the way still. It'll be 1 lap to go when they cross the line, this time by 17.5 minutes into proceedings. It's Gowans to Ratcliffe to Cornt to De Bono to Cochrane. That's the 5. Then it's Fritzy, Delaney and Hardwick battling it out for Pro-Am honours. And then it's Johnston leading Sinkovic and Sopar. For the amateurs to say that, though, Wakefield's having a great little battle here with Sopar in the background. This is for the final podium position between these boys here as they come on through. We've got Wakefield. Pricey
Walker
in the background.
Marty Walker getting a black flag there for contact as well. So the race controllers had a fair bit to do tonight, buddy.
Yeah, they're definitely being very, very busy. I'm sure there'll be a couple of reviews happening for some incidents possibly. Look at that wheel hanging out on Noble's car. That's looking a bit loose. He's got Johnston. This might be some team play here from them, actually, because he's allowing Sinkovic now, his teammate, to get an eye in on Johnston here as they come up towards the curb of death.
Boys setting it through hard, really. Could be careful here, easy to lose the rear of the car, but all 4 of them getting through there. Now it's the big run down the back straight. Maximise that run, straighten it out. Should have enough extras left in the bank to be able to do a bit of bump drafting going on here from Sinkovic on Johnson. And they're going to try and go 3 wide, bit of shimmying going on, movement. Careful, boys, don't make multiple moves. Race control doesn't like the look of that. Is that Gallo trying to get in on the mix here as well, going up the inside. Good little battle here.
Oh, a bit of a door bash there with Johnston and Sinker. Are they going to make it 4 wide down towards turn 1, Cowie?
This could be contact here, but David Gallo, the pro, is right in behind these guys and finding nowhere to go through because there's 3 of them racing together, blocking the track completely. And I think it's that one of the Sinkovic's got bumped on the outside there.
That was Noble off the track there.
We are on the last lap of the race, though, buddy. That was Barney waving the flag. How's the battle go up front? It's about a half a second from Gowans back to Ratcliffe. And De Bono is going up the inside of court. He's got the pole spot coming into this corner. Tim tries to go deep, trying to go deep. Can he hold around the outside? De Bono. Oh, it's contact. De Bono again with that hold shot to be able to do a little bit of a block pass and keep Tim on the outside. Tim trying to, he's not going to give this up, buddy.
No, he doesn't want to. Desperado times between them. As they come into the long right-hander, De Bono just gets the better run on Corn. And even if Tim can't get it on the podium here, you have to say it's been an absolutely incredible run for him in this race. And fair play to De Bono. That was an intense battle between them.
Good fighting there from Tim as well. He tried his best to try and hold off De Bono, but as we've seen, you know, week after week, De Bono's able to, you know, carve his way through the field. He's got so much control of speed in these parts.
We make our way through the curves of death, up onto the back straight.
Matty Gerard asking earlier, can Shane get past Corn for a velocity shutout? Well, it wasn't Shane that had to do it. It was Dylan that had to do it, and he's done it. And he's now running up the inside of his teammate. And maybe looking to try and take P2. No, I think Doug's too far ahead to give up P1 with only a corner to go.
Oh, Corn wants it up the inside of Ratcliffe. Oh.
Tried it. Oh, no.
Oh, rolled the dice. Unable to get it done. But it's going to be another, and Gowans is going to let De Bono through here for the lead. It's going to be another velocity 1, 2, 3 for race number 3 here tonight. De Bono to Ratcliffe, to Gowans, to Cochrane, to Fritz, to Byrne, to Catacasinos, to Corn, who only just made it over the line with that damage off the incident. Delaney makes it into the 10. Johnston takes out the amateur honours as Singovic has now dropped down into P18, but he was P3 for those guys and girls out there.
Oh, Tim threw everything at it. It cost him 4 spots in the end, Tim. But we love to see you have a big sentiment there at the end, buddy. So unlucky, but we love to see the attempt. So, but again, the Velocity Simlab boys reigning supreme, even to the point that both the Rat and the Grandpa letting Dylan through to take the victory and make it 3 from 3 tonight.
So it was a great job there from the Velocity boys, as you mentioned, Cowie. DeBono makes it 3 from 3. Gowan's doing the team play there of letting the championship leader go on through. Some big burnouts coming from DeBono as he just tries to get that thing lit up. What a couple of races we had tonight, Cowie. Let's see if they can get us our podium finishes from race 3, plus the Pro-Am winner and the amateur winner as well. And we'll be able to have a good old chat to them. I mean, the Velocity one's going to be easy. We're literally going to be able to drag all 3 of them in. One of them's only going to have to do the sponsors, but they're all going to be able to give us their ideas and their thoughts on how their battle went with Tim Corn, who was really in a David versus Goliath battle there in the end.
Well, I think as you thought, sort of in race 1 and race 3, it was definitely a team effort, and we saw sort of, even the 3 of them being able to, protect Ratcliffe getting a great run on that restart after the safety car, because he's in the ear of his teammates able to tell him exactly when to go. He was able to get up alongside, but make sure he wasn't get his nose in front before the control line, and that meant that he was in the perfect position, the whole seat inside for T1.
So we'll bring up our provisional results there for race number 3 here tonight, ladies and gentlemen. It will be Dylan DeBono out of P1 for the 3rd time here tonight. He will be our round winner ahead of his teammates Shane Ratcliffe in P2 and Dougie Gowans out of P3. It's then Mark Cochran from Apex Esports League out of P4, with Daniel Fritz finishing this race in P5. P1 for the Pro-Ams. It's then Daniel Byrne ahead of Sam Catacasinos and Tim Corn after an absolutely super send at the final corner. He rolled the dice and the dice came up dunces. It was then Ty Delaney P2 for his class, P9 on the road, with Greg Johnston coming home P1 for the amateurs, P10 overall here tonight. That was a great run from him. It's then David Gallo in behind and Kevin Wakefield P2 in the AMs, P12 on the road. We then go down to Mitchie Noble, who'll make up the podium for the Pro-Ams. It's then Wayne Edwards, Mark Turner, Cam Hardwick, and Dan Bartish making up the top 17 cars on the road for us. We then move down to Dean Singovic, who'll make up the podium for the amateurs, to David Simmons, to Vic Bentveltsen, John McHenry, Marty Walker, Shane Newens, Matt Feely, Brendan Sopal will make up the top 25, to Phil Buckland, to Stephanie Piccoli and Mick Clifton, with Ryan Price a lap down, Callan Hodgson 5 laps down, and Steve Singovic not making the start of the final race here tonight, Cowie.
Now, just one correction for you there. Mark Cochran is actually a Pro-Am.
Okay.
So he, I think Fitzy took out the honours in the first 2 races, and Mark got it in the 3rd one there. So I think you're right. It still will be Fritzy that'll walk away with the bag of points and the round victory for the Pro-Ams. So already Dylan DeBono with a triple win tonight in the pros, and Greg Johnson, when he had that one poor result, I think it was a race 1, but race 2 and 3 has redeemed himself, and he's the AM victory. He only had a 1 point lead in the championship, so he'll be happy with his points all here tonight too.
Oh, well, that is how our pros will line up. I did change Marks to Pro-Am, but it hasn't actually adjusted him now because he finished the race as a pro for me. That was just how he was set up when I got it off JP for some reason, and then into our Pro-Am positions, and then into our AM. So it means that Cochran will join us in the booth, not Fritzy, being that he won for the Pro-Ams there in our final race here tonight. So we'll be able to have a chat to all of those drivers, of course, once they are available to us. We have got Grandpa Gowans. We have got Mark Cochran. I'll tell you what, we'll bring in Mark. We'll have a chat to him just quickly. I mean that he was our Pro-Am winner. Mr. Cochran, 2 nights in a row, 2 times you get to come and have a chat to me. Any confirmation if the students came and watched the stream last night?
I don't know. I was off. I had meetings on today, so I didn't really get to see them. So they got an extra day to do the homework.
Oh.
Lucky them.
Oh, I know, right? I know. I mean, and they're lucky for them. You could have told them to watch today's stream and then do their whole rigmarole of figuring out who said what at which times. But it was a good run from you tonight, mate. Good to see you find your footing, find your pace in these cars. A top 5 for you, a P1 for the Pro-Ams. How was it trying to wrestle these cars around this track with its kind of changing conditions of the track composites on there, being that it's tarmac and concrete composite, and then also just straight up concrete on the road as well?
Yeah, look, it was a bit difficult at times, especially. I don't think that the changes in surface were too big of a problem. It was more the curbs. In these cars, I like to ride the curbs, but if you hit them at the wrong angle, the car goes up. And the tech guys at Apex, we were just really using a setup not suited for this track, but it worked well for us. So we were just trying to work out how to best approach the circuit and not cause the car to flip.
We did see the curbs there, creating quite a few nuances. Did you have a couple of heart in his throat moments out there tonight?
Oh yeah, a few, but luckily the car didn't want to do a couple of flips for the stream. It just stayed pretty stable. Like I just got off the throttle and the car went down. But I only saw one car on its side, so I don't know if that was a curb issue or not. But yeah, I think I was pretty lucky. But yeah, there was a few heart and mouth moments.
So Phillip Island next week, Mark. How are you feeling going into that one, and possibly trying to tame such a difficult circuit on its own, but also having to wrestle these things around there as well?
Oh yeah, look, I'm pretty excited for Phillip Island. I love racing around Phillip Island, and I think there'll be some good battles, especially with that long straight, the slipstream, and going into turn 2 at the Southern Loop. I think it will be exciting. I think it will be a good stream, and yeah, I just hope that I get another good result.
Rain or no rain for the rest of the season?
Rain. I think the other admins and I were talking about wanting rain, but that was decided against. So we'll see how Saturday goes, and if it goes well, I think we might be talking to Steve about maybe having rain next week.
So is that you confirming your attendance for Saturday then?
I'm a 99% chance of Saturday, yes.
Very good. Well, we look forward to seeing how you go. You're going to race in both the 8.6 and also, or you're going to race in all three, just to see how all the cars kind of head up?
Maybe the first two. The third one is still a question mark, but definitely the first two races, which I think is the 86 and the super lights.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I think it's going to be a good opportunity to learn. You're also going to see how Phillip Island acts in the wet in case we do go to wet weather next week for the 8.6s being there in the Super Formula Light on Saturday. Great job tonight, Mark. Let us know who's giving you an Apex Esports League the support out there, and anyone else you want to give a shout out to as well.
No worries. A massive shout out to our incredible sponsors and partners: Pagnian Advanced Simulation, Next Level Racing, Dubby, Fanatec, Stump Grinding Central Coast, and Razor. And of course, thanks to Apex Esports League and the rest of our team for all the support. And thanks for Mick Clifton and David Sibbons for joining our Discord and adding to the entertainment.
Very good, mate. Well, thanks for coming over to chat to us once again. Best of luck tomorrow for IMSA. And best of luck on Saturday night for dealing with the rain.
All right. Thanks, Hamish. Thanks, Cowie.
Thanks, mate. Well, Cowie, we've got our amateur winner in there, Greg Johnston, as well. We'll bring him in. We'll have a quick chat to him. If I can drag him in. There we go. Mr. Johnston. Now, we had a pre-race little chin wag. And this race was a little bit of avoid the carnage out there for all three races, really, around about that 8-minute mark.
Yeah, well, to say that I was very, very annoyed in race 1 when I got bumped by a guy that's just in his first race in the league. It took me from about P14 to P29. I was a bit dirty. But, yeah, worked my way back a little bit. Second race wasn't real great. Had a couple of little incidents in there. one or two of my own doing, and a couple of others just little niggly tangles. But last race, it was a case of drive as hard as I could, stay out of trouble as best I could, and in the end, managed to hang on to the win in the AM class for the round, for the race.
That's what I was going to ask you, actually, Greggy. You know, it's a track like this where, you know, the curbs are quite dangerous in these cars, yet to push around here and drive hard, you've got to use them. So where's the fine line in it, buddy? You said you sort of, you could fell afoul of a couple little things in race number 2, and is that just what it is, trying to drive so close to the limit?
Race 2 was, very much that. One of the right-handers down the back, I hit the curb pretty hard, and I went round, straightened it up, and, you know, spotter comes up, says, "You've got wheel damage," and I'm thinking, oh, crap, not again. So both races I had to go in and use my drive-through and use my fast repair. And in the last race, I think I had a 0X.
Oh,
and
couldn't have ended it any better then.
Still some pretty hard racing in that last one. You know, kept Dave Gallo off a few times. Managed to sneak past Dino when he had a little bit of a mistake coming onto the straight behind the pits. And I took a couple of chances in there. That sort of, you know, one stage I was 3 wide down the front straight, and I thought, oh God, not again. And I was in the middle.
Yeah, we
all got through it.
We saw your little battle start to form towards the end of the race with Daniel Byrne getting in on the David Gallo getting in on the action.
Yeah.
And then you, Mitchie, and Dean Singovich in there as well. And our heart was in our mouth pretty much. Like, you know, we were just like, we couldn't wait to see what could happen off the back of it. Luckily, you guys kept it somewhat clean out there for that little battle. Obviously, IMSA tomorrow night, Daytona, big race coming up for you on that one. And then obviously, Saturday night for our rain run as well. But I want to ask you how you're feeling for Phillip Island next week in these cars, and what kind of strategy you think you might employ going into practicing for that race next week?
Stay out of trouble, number one, at Phillip Island. And, you know, I tend to let some of the quicker guys through and then try and get in behind them and let them do all the heavy lifting through the field. At the moment, you know, my pace isn't too bad in these. And I'm driving a lot harder the last couple of rounds, and it's paying off a little bit. As long as I can, you know, keep it straight, keep out of trouble, make the smart decisions, unlike the F3s last night. Sacrifice a spot to a guy that I'm not racing against to make sure that I stay in front of the guys that I am. So, and that's pretty much what I've got to do for the rest of the season.
Well, mate, it's a great mindset to have, especially in these cars. We know how temperamental they can be when racing door-to-door action in tin top machines like this. Let us know who's giving you and TGR the support out there, mate, and anyone else you want to give a shout-out to as well.
Yeah, big shout-out to Red Energy. My CEO's very much a petrol head, and he loves what I do, and he loves seeing the cars with the Red Energy logo all over it. He likes the Audi because it's all red, and the F3's all red, but tonight's car's supporting the Tourette Syndrome Association of Australia, hence the teal and blue livery. And that one's something that keeps me very much entertained, the Tourette Syndrome Association. I do some work for them. The next couple of weeks, they've got one of their national camps down in Victoria. And my daughter keeps pestering me, asking me, am I going? So I suppose I will be going and helping them out. So, I just do some stuff to promote the cause for them, and and it's really good.
And I'll ask you the same question before you go, Greg. Rain or dry next week? Wet or dry?
Prefer the dry at the island, but I had a crack around Sebring last night in a wet car. Learned very quickly that you've got to change the tyres 2 wets to get them going after spinning coming out of the pits. But this thing in the wet, it goes all right. So if we have a wet race next week, Yeah, I reckon I can handle that. Obviously the pace will be down and everyone's pace will be down. It's just that'll be just a matter of survival if we do a wet race.
Oh, I think it'll be battle for
gonna be
survival no
interesting.
matter what cars you're in the wet, isn't it? But
Yep, very much.
yeah, it should give us some good viewing and some good opportunities to racing as well. But thanks for coming over chat.
I threw the Audi R8 round Nordschleife last night in the rain. Oh my goodness.
You are
That was
game.
The carousel had probably a foot of water in the bottom of it.
You'd have to run. You'd have to run instead of being on the banking. You'd have to run it like a normal corner, just on top of the carousel. Like
Exactly. You had to go around the flat. You couldn't hold the banking.
Wow, absolutely
So,
insane. But
I'm glad we don't have to race these there.
oh mate, thanks for
All
coming
right.
over chat to us. Best of luck next time out, and yeah,
Thanks,
and
boys.
Best of luck in attempting the rain this weekend as well.
We'll give it a crack. Cheers, mate.
Thanks, mate. All right, Carrie, we'll drag in our Velocity Sim Labs boys in just a second, but I just want to get them all set up here on the cams so they are rearing and ready to go. But great to chat to both Mark and Greg off the back of that one. I'd be interested to chat to him after the race, actually, who it was who he was referring to. We get to know that information. The people at home don't necessarily get to. But let's drag in these Velocity boys and have a good old little chat with them about their podium lockout. Doug Gowans, Dylan DeBono, Shane Ratcliffe, Velocity Sim Labs. Could you not have had a better night tonight? I mean, you reckon you would have gone for a fourth win if there was a fourth race? Like, come on, boys, let someone else have an opportunity at podium. What do you reckon?
No.
No?
No. And yes, we could have went better because we only had a 1 and 3 in the second race. So,
that's true.
I'm a bit disappointed by that.
Somebody buggered that up. I wonder who.
Oh, there'll definitely be some chats happening after the race. Possibly a lashing coming somebody's way.
Oh, yes.
Yep.
Oh, but
I'll lift my game.
Good on you, Shane.
Obviously, Sebring, tough track already, and you bring some cars around here that struggle on curbs, around a track that you need to ride the curbs to really get the most out of the car. How was the track combo for you guys? Obviously, you really shined up the front, but you had a bit of struggle there from Tim Corn at the end, and he went for a full send, and it didn't pay off for him. But you guys looked to be in trouble there for a minute.
You go, Dylan.
Yeah, to be honest with you, I don't know if you got it on the broadcast. I was coming into the hairpin and almost rolled my car. Tim was fast. He was consistent. He was always there. Same again. The draft brings you in a lot. But we had a pretty good plan out the front, and I think we were going to be pretty well right.
I mean, let's talk about, obviously, all three races were kind of mirror images of each other. You guys were all battling for the lead. 8 minutes hits, and all of a sudden there's a safety car worthy incident, and then we go racing again around about the floor. And I said it to Cowie, first race, I'm like, we've had one at 8 minutes, 10 minutes in. Will we get another one in race 2 or race 3? Cowie said no. It then happened at the exact same time in race 2, and I'm like, race 3, it's going to happen again. I'm already And then it did. And it was you couldn't even, the script was on for tonight's race, apparently. It was wild.
Look, we were talking behind gritted teeth, I have to say. I mean, you start getting a nice flow going with this track, and we're running quite well, and then bang, safety car closes the whole field up. The cars at risk of being involved in an incident. Safety cars aren't my favourite, I have to say.
Well, I was going to say to you, Shane, it seemed to work out for you in that last race there. The little word from the boys gave you the heads up just at the right time to get up alongside but not get in front. So you had the pole shot for T1.
Yeah, it did allow me to get a nice jump start there, but it worked against me in the second one where I had no time to work back after the spin. So swings and roundabouts.
I think this was probably the best round, Cowie, that Sheafy couldn't have come back for, being that his team got the podium lockout in 2 races.
He actually jumped on in the break, and he said, "Oh, look, I'm watching the race. Well done, boys. See you Saturday morning." He flies back Friday. Not sure if he's really ready to leave Japan yet. He's having a pretty good time over there.
So, Doug, it was all about the championship. We maybe noticed that you seem to have a little bit of trouble with the throttle around that final corner.
No, no trouble at all. I'm out of the championship, mate. You know, I went away. I've missed a couple of rounds. I'm not in the running for anything. So yeah, I'll let these two boys get a little points they can.
So, Dylan, obviously you're leading the championship by a fair chunk. A perfect round for you means that you're going to be leading it by even more now. How much, does it take any pressure off you leading into 3 rounds to go, or are you still, head on, just try and win everything you can and just spread that gap as much as you can so you're not stressing come that final round?
Yeah, I think it's I think the points is out to about 180 now, so that's almost clear. So I think the focus now shifts onto trying to get Shane up inside that top 3. Because we want to try and help our boys out as much as possible. That's the point of being inside the team, and we'll do our best to work that out.
So obviously,
did you know that he's on 15 wins in a row now?
What
Mr. De Bono is?
What 15? Just overall?
Yeah, 15 wins and 86 in a row.
Wow.
Well, you're certainly showing some great speed in it. You had to do a bit of work in race number 2 there, buddy. But I suppose in a way it shows you how important it is to qualify up near the front, because like tonight we saw carnage in all 3 races, and you boys were all ahead of it.
Well, yeah, qualifying is key. If you don't qualify up the front, you get caught up in incidents behind, and it just ruins your night. Those other boys from Velocity like Cam, and Marty, they've got good pace. They're just constantly getting caught up in stuff at the back. That just all comes down to qualifying speed, and they're getting there.
And to be honest, these cars are quite hard to pass with too. If you're not ready to do some really good door banging or some big sends, it's hard. The caliber of the field, is pretty strong, especially in the midfield, and that's why Cam and Marty are always being caught up in those type of situations. They're just trying to race fast, but it's very, very tight. And then you look at the front, you've got Tim Cornt, you've got bloody Daniel Byrne. He was on fire tonight.
Well, so are we now going to see next season just Dylan De Bono class, like where you're on your own, Dylan, and everyone else can race for a championship in pro?
Oh, I don't know, man. These guys are pretty fast. You're getting quicker and quicker each week. But yeah, we'll go harder next season, and hopefully the rain comes and another new thing to learn.
Well, I was going to say to you boys, rain next week. Are you up for it?
Oh, yes. 100%.
100%. Can we then assume we're going to see you there Saturday night round Oran Park?
If I can start on pole, I'm up for it.
I'm definitely there, yeah. Can I just say, good thing about being in a team, especially one like Velocity, not only the great bunch of fellas, but at the start of the season, we'll all race for our position. There's no quarter given between either of us drivers, but then we'll assess where we're all standing halfway through the season, and we'll adjust course. We want Velocity and we want our drivers to win. So, if I'm coming 7th and Dylan's coming 2nd, well, then I'm going to help him, maximise his points. Same with Shane, etc. And that's the great thing about being a team, and we do drive really well as a
Yeah, my team does that as well, but there has been an occasion where one of them has hit another person and then tried to claim it was net code. Big shout out to my dad on that one there. But no, it's good to see it. It's good to see you guys can have some really fun, but also respectful racing between yourselves, and you guys aren't having comings together, and you're able to race each other, but also your competitors at the same time. So it's really, really good to see. But I don't know which one of you want to do it, but let us know who's giving Velocity Sim Labs a support out there. Anyone else you guys want to give a shout out to as well? Let everyone know at home, what you guys have got going on.
Yeah. Firstly, big thanks to all the guys at Velocity Sim Lab. They're the ones that each week, we put in the laps together and we all win as a team. Original digital design, makes our cars look amazing. Here they race a YouTube channel. He makes some great content. And yeah, you guys are putting on the stream SRW for the league. I think Shane's got a special person to thank.
Yeah, I think you boys might have covered it off for me already, but it's been a cold old week here for me after I forgot the wife and kids last week. So
Yeah.
big thanks to Amanda, Alex, and Eli. Couldn't do it without you guys.
So,
Thanks, Amanda. Thanks, Amanda, for letting Shane race with us.
Shane, are me and Cowie going to get some brownies in the mail now as well?
Makes a mean brownie too. So
Oh,
I'll see what I can hook up for
Do you
you.
want me to send you my address, mate, and we can just get
Yeah,
that,
just
get that going?
be in the address, and we'll see what we can do.
Very good, mate. Very good. Well, thanks for coming over to chat to us, boys. Congratulations on an absolutely stellar performance here tonight. Best of luck out at Phillip Island next week and for the rest of the season, but also best of luck, and I look forward to seeing it out at Oran Park come Saturday night for the Rain Spectacular.
Oh, yeah. Look forward to
It's
that.
going to be
It's
phenomenal.
crazy.
Oh, it's going to be
It's
brilliant.
crazy. I haven't run
I've
a
got
wet
some-
lap yet. Everyone keeps telling me, "Oh, I've run some laps. It's great." And I haven't had the chance to do it yet. So
You should do it
pretty
before. You should do it before Saturday. I'm going to tell you right now, Doug. I haven't even done laps yet. My mates have, and I know from their experience you want to run some laps. So
Okay,
I've got a truckload of spare panels ready to go.
Good on you, buddy.
I'd hate to know who's getting that bill for the new cars, boys, because there could be some hell to pay off the back of it. But
That'd be the team boss. Thanks, fellas. Appreciate it tonight.
Cheers, boys.
No worries.
Appreciate it.
Thanks,
Thank
boys.
you.
See you guys.
See ya.
Okay, what a run it was here tonight for Velocity, but what a run it was for the rest of the field as well, bringing us some absolutely stellar action out at Sebring. I think, it over-delivered from what I personally expected and gave us some absolutely fantastic action to call once again.
I think, like Doug was saying there, that it's actually, it's a bit harder car than you realise to try and make passes and that. We saw it with just the incidents and action in the back. It was very easy to send it a little bit too hard and then, bring the curbs of death into the equation on both sides, or, just lose the rear, go in a little bit too hot. We saw contact 3 wide. I mean, those races had just about everything, a racing viewer could have wanted to see.
Yeah, it offered everything for us apart from some strategy. So, maybe if there was a longer race, we would have had that come into play too. But that's what you get when you go super sprint racing, especially around this place. So, but thank you to everyone for joining us here tonight for the Shannon's Tour GR86 Nationals. Thank you for bringing us into your homes or wherever you may be watching from with us, wherever you are in the world. We super, super appreciate it. If you haven't already, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button as well, and the bell icon so you are notified anytime we go racing across our 6 nights of content that we bring you, including the Tuesday night Warren & Brown Tools V8 Supercars Series, the Wednesday night Shannon's Insurance Formula 3 Nationals, the Thursday night Shannon's Insurance Toyota GR86 Nationals, which is also a Motorsport Australia official series, the Friday night IMSA Shadow Series brought to you by Warren & Brown Tools, the Sunday night Warren & Brown Tools V8 Supercars Pro-Am, and rounding out our racing week, our Motorsport Australia Formula V Nationals, which is also a Motorsport Australia official series. From myself, Hamish Munro, and alongside me, Andrew Cowan, this has been the SRWtv Shannon's Insurance Toyota GR86 Nationals, round number 6 out at Sebring International Raceway. We'll see you guys tomorrow night for the Warren & Brown Tools IMSA Shadow Series live from Daytona International Speedway. But until then, bye for now.
This is amazing. I was clash heads again. This is like Chaz Moskin and Cam Waters. Almost the same situation. Better contact going down the hill. Sam Noble wants to sniff on Dave Coleman now. Sam Noble bottle right now because, tell you what, Bruce Tanak and Jamie Dyke just absolutely drove away from us.